One. Hello, everyone. I'm going to be having a discussion tonight about things that are just a load of shit, really. I've got Blue Planet and Chow the Ranger with me, so they're doing all right. How you doing?
Fine, just fine.
Right.
Doing better, I guess.
So, yeah, Chowder, did you see This Week in Stupid?
Yes, I just watched it.
Yeah, it was pretty infuriating. I don't know whether I look for a link or two. I'm going to go back onto his video and I'm going to get that Guardian article up and we can have a read through it together. Yes, it is the Guardian. Imagine my shock.
Guardian of what exactly?
Guardian of Muslim rapists. What do you think?
Well, indeed. That was rather obvious.
Faggots and apologists for Islam.
Yeah, basically, honestly, it's basically jihad approved. They might as well just say we endorse ISIS. I wouldn't even be shocked. I wouldn't even say, look, the Guardian suck. I would just be like, yep.
Hey guys, I mean,
A far cry. It's a far cry from their reporting during the days of the Blitz and the Nazis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting like worse and worse by the year.
Yeah, I'm actually eating something right now. Can you hear me chewing?
No, you're good.
No. That's one of the upsides to having your headphones. I can't hear you chew.
Excellent.
Right.
Yeah. But that bloody article, I mean, the Guardian.
I'm getting it up just now.
Guardian is really embarrassing.
And anyone want to buy Hillary's new book?
Is it on sale yet? Like, as in,
I think
on discount yet?
I think it's gonna go on sale in like a few days.
Yeah, I don't know. Even if it was like £1 or $1, I would still, yeah, I'd still be stealing it.
I'm just
laugh at.
I'm gonna wait until like someone digitizes it and I can just download it for free.
Oh yeah, you'll need to take us through then the excerpts later that you were talking about. But
yeah.
For the time being, I was starting to feel a bit sleepy before I started this stream, but this will get my blood boiling again.
I'm planning on getting the Audible soon, and you get a 30-day free trial. So I'll probably wait until that comes about. I don't want to spend any money on that bloody book.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Plus, I get to hear the Hillbot's audio version of the book.
Right, screen share. Yeah, just download it. Do not give that witch any money. Right, can you guys see the page all right?
Yep, it's coming in.
Well, yeah, I see it on the screen there.
Yeah, that's good. As long as, well, you've read it earlier, but yeah, here's the title. The grooming of girls in Newcastle is not an issue of race. It's about misogyny. Jesus Christ. See, this is what they always do. It's like, they did it because they're men, not because their culture, teaches them that women are second-class citizens and that non-Muslims are second-class citizens. So this is
everything I don't like is misogyny. That's what it is.
Yeah, basically. I think it's cheat on Mura. I don't know. I'm probably being racist just by saying that wrong. Oh well.
Just so you know, I might have some technical difficulties. Sorry about that in advance if it happens.
No, listen, don't worry about clicking. I can accept clicking.
I mean, I might drop out at some point inadvertently.
All right then.
I've got a couple of different devices, but so I'll be able to get back on soon after that, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. Inshallah that we'll get some bloody sanity from the feminists. I doubt it. But anyway, it was something called Operation Sanctuary, which I'm going to have a look about after, which is obviously something that got these men jailed. And these were, yes, Pakistani Muslim men that were running this, and they were grooming what appeared to be all white girls. If there might have been other religions as well, because occasionally Hindus and Sikhs get their kids, they get groomed as well, because they're obviously non-Muslims. But yeah, she's appalled by the men jailed as a result of Operation Sanctuary, but turning this into a matter of race and religion is an insult to the survivors. Calm. Must stay calm. What's worse, rape or racism? What an opening way to start this article.
Quite the dichotomy, isn't it? You have to choose between one or the other.
Yeah, and I'm sure Sargon was banging his desk when he was saying that one out. What's worse, rape or racism? I found myself posing that question after the Operation Sanctuary investigation, I'll open that to look at after, was finally made public, revealing horrific abuse of girls and vulnerable young women in Newcastle and Rotherham and Rochdale and probably Bradford and probably even Glasgow as well. Didn't surprise me. There's a lot of stuff that's not come out yet. I had been moved and inspired by the courage of the victims. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Testifying sometimes multiple times to the most appalling and intimate crimes. And I felt overwhelming anger at the men who had done this, men in my constituency, men who used girls and women as their property without respect for them or thought for their fortunes. Well, you just see how much how much remorse she has for these victims. I mean, I'm having a hard time believing that she truly did seethe, when she heard about this.
Well, the funny thing about it, though, is she's pointing out things that are prevalent within Islam, how Islam basically treats women as property. She's just pointing that out right now, but then she'll probably go back and say, no, Islam doesn't do this.
Yeah. Well, some like countries are worse than others because it's people from Pakistani, descent who like engage in this. And I don't know if you've seen any videos Sargon does in his second channel. All cultures are equal. He did one about Pakistan, and when you think they're the incest capital of the world, and rape happens quite a lot there. It's just such. I've said this before, and I'll probably get thrown in the meat wagon for saying this, but it's just such a rapey country. And the people that come over have brought these like sort of values. But anyway, yeah, before I get arrested, I better carry on through this. But I was also angry at right-wing attempts to make this abuse and exploitation an issue of race and religion. See, this is what pisses me off. You can tell that this is where her priorities lie. She's more angry at the right wing for apparently trying to weaponize this than the actual, grooming gangs themselves. When it comes to the issue,
weaponize mean actually pay attention to.
The issue, when it comes to the issue of race and religion, it's nothing to do with race. Very, very few people, if any, have said it about race, but they have said it about religion because that's what the religion teaches them. On Saturday, the EDL will be marching through Newcastle. That was obviously, this was before Saturday, it's past. And I've been told on social media that I was a little better than a pimp for not warning white working class girls against Muslim men. Jesus. And then I was angry at those mainly men who seemed... Notice how she says mainly men, and the way she just puts her little feminist rhetoric into there. But obviously they are men, we know that. Who seemed intent on turning the rape of girls into a minor war on imperialism. Talking only of right-wing racism, not raped. Having been raped and abused, disempowered and exploited. Where are these survivors not going to be written out of their own story? If I'm reading this poorly, it's because I'm really shit at narrating. I'm not a good narrator.
Where's Morgan Freeman when you need him?
Yeah. But yeah, looking at like the weaponizing of this from the right wing. I mean, okay, there'll be the odd one that does that, but the primary concern for all the people that are pointing this out is the well-being of the children and the young women that got abused.
Yeah. And Katie Hopkins of the worlds, they're going to make this what they will anyway. So what's the point of worrying about it?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Do you like Katie Hopkins?
I think she is genuine in her beliefs, but I think she takes it too far in certain instances.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I mean, I remember I used to like loathe her at first. I mean, I wouldn't say I particularly love her, but she is honest. So that's, a lot more than what you get on some parts of the left and the right for that matter. I'm not a right-winger, just in case anyone wonders, although it might sound like it. But
Re Katie Hopkins, I would.
you would.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you heard about what Sarah Champion did. She got actually expelled from the Labour Party for saying this.
So that was such a tragedy. I mean,
Oh, it was. And this is someone who is, she's got a lot to answer for as well. But she finally comes out and says the objectionable truth. And then it's Labour's floppy left fall silent when issues touch on race. And it's true.
She is so right on here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven always has room for the sinner who repented.
Yeah, well, she's been purged from the party now, so she's obviously one of the enemy. She's far right now, just by association. She declared that the floppy. Sorry, on you go.
But is it any wonder, given who's running the Labour Party at this point?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely the most communist leader of the opposition we've ever had in the UK. Although he almost came fairly close though in the election, but that's because the Conservatives were shit. The party that I voted for, but they were very shit.
And apparently a lot of students double voted.
Yeah, that's true as well. There was one such guy, I think it was in Brighton. Brighton is basically our San Francisco, maybe worse. It's like you've got the south coast of the UK, so many conservative towns, and you've got like Brighton, which is just like, it's like the Green Party's breeding spot.
And the gay capital of Britain.
Is it as well? I thought that would be London.
Well, I mean, there's places in London, but Brighton is, sort of famous culturally for,
There's nothing wrong with them being the gay capital of London. There is something wrong with their double standards, though, when it comes to certain beliefs from certain people that shall not be named. But yeah, after the resignation, Jeremy Corbyn, an MP in Islington, our famous comrade, he said that his party would not blame or demonise any particular group. Right. I'm just going to talk about, the demonisation of particular groups. These people love to call them Asian grooming gangs, right? And for me, if anything is racist, then that is more racist than to point out their religion. I mean, because it's unfair on all the other people in Asia. I mean, over in the States, I know that when you guys say Asian, you normally think of like the Orientals, am I right?
Like Chinese.
Yeah, Chinese, Japanese. Here in Britain, when you think of Asian, it's more about South Asia, like Pakistan, Bangladesh, India. But to me, I think of the term Asian, and I'm thinking of the entire continent. So that includes like Mongolia, China, India, Indonesia, Japan, even Russia. That's in Asia as well.
Korea, all that shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Russia didn't do nothing.
But yeah, to like tar the whole. Well, it's maybe not in their mind to tar the whole continent with the brush, to be fair. But it's just like they're dancing around this issue, and they're obviously, and it's because of the religion that they have. That's why they're doing it. I mean, if obviously, if a lot of people love to bring up the argument that you get white grooming gangs, and that's true. But the thing is, they don't get it swept under the carpet. If there was a group of white, working class men grooming anyone, any children, male, female, white, black, Asian, whatever, and the police found out, there'd be no attempt to cover it up, to protect community cohesion. They'd be dealt with instantly.
Could you imagine if all these cases were white men in grooming gangs grooming young South Asian girls? Could you imagine how different media coverage
would be? Totally different, yeah. The feminists, for one, would be like saying this is why we need feminism.
It would be hashtag white toxic masculinity or some bullshit like that.
Well, that would be actually pretty soft for them, I'd think. They'd be like, it would be like a national, well, this has been a national scandal, but it's taken so long to come out. And it would be a lot worse, and there would be like more people would have been punished sooner for this rather than waiting all this time.
There'd be like 3 public inquiries at the moment.
Mm-hmm, yeah, but as to other, white people who commit like paedophilia, rape, and all that, this is true. But if I've heard like the odd person like mention Jimmy Savile. I don't know if you know who Jimmy Savile is. Blue Planet. He was a TV presenter who done a lot of charity work for children, and he was knighted, but he actually abused a lot of like young teenage girls in his time.
Oh yeah, he was caught up in a wider scandal within the BBC itself.
Yeah, the BBC covered for him, and it wasn't. There was many people that had suspicions throughout his life, but it wasn't until after about a year or so after he died when it all came out. And when people like say, "Oh, there's an example of a white man, but he's got power that the common person doesn't have." I mean, he was knighted. He was a knight of the realm. He was insanely rich. He's got power. He could, pay people to, destroy evidence, or he could bully people into silence. If Jimmy Savile was living in a danky town with a danky little cul-de-sac, and nobody had heard of him, and he was like abusing young girls, luring them into the house, and the police caught wind of that, they would have dealt with him straight away. So yeah, now that that's out of the way. London is not representative of the UK, and definitely not representative of North England in relation to race. Rotherham and many post-industrial towns are still segregated. A lot of these towns, in the industrial north are very segregated. I mean, I would say that London is probably where, if you wanted to say multiculturalism worked. I mean, I wouldn't say that it does work, but it works better there for some reason than it does in the north. And you guys want to weigh down on something? I feel like I'm hogging the conversation here.
No, I just the whole idea of multiculturalism to me is something that I just don't agree with, because I think it goes against my core principles and values. I think that a lot of people get caught up in what their interpretation of what it means versus what it actually is, and they don't realize how cancerous it actually is.
A lot of people in the UK, I don't know if this is the same in America, use the term multicultural just as a synonym for diverse. They say, "Oh, I live in a multicultural area," but which means you live in a diverse area. It's two words, multiculturalism and diversity, do not mean the same thing. You're using that word wrongly.
No. Yeah, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, look at how multicultural the U.S. is," and I would make the point that no, the U.S. is not multicultural. We are a melting pot, and we're a pluralistic, culturally pluralistic society, which is vastly different from what a multicultural society is.
With regards to multiculturalism, though, I remember when I was at college back in 2009, I'd seen all like the propaganda posters put out multiculturalism, a cause for celebration, and it basically had people from pretty much every ethnic group. But when you think about it on the surface, multiculturalism is basically just, in my opinion, the promotion of Islam, the acceptance of Islam, and the protection of Islam. Because when it comes to multiculturalism, very rarely do we hear debates about other, religious minorities like the Sikhs and the Hindus, and the Sikhs in particular are pretty based, in my opinion. They're probably some of the best integrated people in the UK. And then you've got like the Chinese, and yeah, they have Chinatowns in British cities, but when you walk, but they're not no-go zones. I mean, they keep themselves to themselves, but at the same time, they're happy to, mix in, when appropriate as well. So they're well integrated as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the other problems that comes with multiculturalism is a lot of cultural relativism is rooted within multiculturalism, which is to say that, there are so many cultures and they're all equal. Well, no.
Some cultures are
inherently. Some have just your backward values compared to what we have for our values and our principles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when it comes to like cultures, it's not only just the Western cultures. I mean, I find some Asian cultures are superior to the Middle Eastern cultures, and some of their beliefs as well. But anyway, this article is, it's as I'm unfold. It says there, but this is what the people that were 18 people that were found guilty over the Newcastle sex grooming network. And yes, look at the diversity in that picture. So
They're all
much
going
diversity.
to focus on that one white person, though. That one white guy, they're going to focus on that person.
That's not a guy, dude.
Oh shit! Well, that's how.
It's an intersectional feminist. She's fighting the patriarchy by helping Asian men groom white girls. So it looks like.
And they have been focusing on her.
Yeah, but yeah, the picture here they've obviously got all very Asian names. They're not Middle Eastern names. They're not Islamic names. They're Asian names. Let's blame the entire continent on this. Apart from one Caroline Gallen. But yeah, 17 men and 1 woman have been found guilty of involvement in a sex grooming network in Newcastle that piled vulnerable women and girls with drink and drugs before assaulting them. In a series of 4 trials. On you go.
Would that mean that Carolyn is an agent of the patriarchy?
You'd think so, but you know the way the patriarchy works, it's the white devil that's the patriarchy. I mean, she was probably fighting the patriarchy doing this in one twisted way.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if the quote is in here, but what I have seen doing the rounds on Twitter, that girl apparently said that all the victims in this case got what they deserved. And when you just look at her, I mean, I don't know if I can zoom it in a bit. Yeah, there you are. If this scars you for life, I apologise, but she obviously has that sort of, intersectional, freakish look about her. Judgmental as that makes sense, but
yeah,
she's obviously not someone who's exactly goes to the bar and gets a lot of, males coming up and try to hit on her.
Gay bar.
Gay bar.
She just sounds like a total cunt.
Oh, she is. If she, saying that about the victims saying they got what they deserved. I mean, there's obviously a case of bitterness in this.
Yeah.
So the victims, all females.
It's fucked up.
There's some like adults as well, but they were all aged between 13 and 25, and they were targeted because they were vulnerable and less likely to complain because of their circumstances. So yeah, we should just. Or they came from a shitty background, so we should just not give a damn. Oh no. But yes, these men, like some were related since, or friends since childhood. They were convicted in 4 interlinked trials that had run over more than 2 years. Don't know if you remember when we were on Tailstream the other night. You brought up Rotherham, and then did I not mention that it was only after the Conservatives took office in 2010 that this all started coming out?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember, and I also remember back further back before Gordon Brown was voted out of office. He had the scandal of calling, that one woman who approached him about immigration racist.
Oh, based Granny, I remember her.
Yeah, for just asking the question of, what are we going to do about immigration? Why can we do something about this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gillian Duffy, her name was.
Gillian Duffy, yeah, I remember. Yeah, actually, I remember the day that was breaking, and back then, it was sort of like I didn't really have a party. I mean, I wouldn't say I really have a party now, but I was sort of fearing the Tories more. But when he said that at that stage, I was already somewhat red-pilled, if that's a way to put it. And that just made me think, how can anyone vote for this party? If you've got any concerns, these people are making it obvious that they don't want to speak for you. I mean, the concept of immigration itself isn't a bad thing, but just opening the borders and letting everyone in just to prove a point isn't a good thing.
It was, I don't know if it was Alistair, what's his name? The advisor. Tony Blair's advisor.
Alistair Darling, is that his name by any chance?
No, he was a cabinet member in Trudeau's cabinet. He was Gordon Brown's Chancellor of the Exchequer. I'm talking about Alistair Campbell. That was his name.
Alistair Campbell. The name rings a bell, but I'm going to stop presenting to myself now.
Yeah, he was he was one of the main advisors. Tony Blair sort of seen as a boogeyman.
Right. Yeah.
And it might have been him, might have been someone else, but they said they quoted saying, "Our idea of introducing, allowing so many people to come into Britain, from the other countries when Blair got in was, an opportunity to rub the Tories' face in diversity, something like that."
Imagine my shock.
Yeah. And yeah, these people are just,
they are insufferable. And the last Labour government, in comparison to the current Labour Party now, were much more moderate. Let's not forget. And if that's what they did as moderates, then just imagine what they would do under Corbyn's premiership. I was genuinely scared during the last election that he might have just swayed it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't think it would be that close, but I was pretty sure he would. The Labour Party would lose.
Yeah, but
well, the difference being that Tony Blair was actually electable, and Jeremy Corbyn is the most unelectable commie piece of shit to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. He's very popular with like university students and daft progressive millennials.
Yeah, but ironically, he is a long-term Eurosceptic, as many old school Labour Party politicians were.
Yeah, it used to be more a left-wing position to take to be a Eurosceptic back in the past, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Because obviously the European Union is like pro-corporation, and the left are supposed to hate corporations, but they're sort of like agreeing with them, even subconsciously, about open borders. I mean, corporations want cheap labour. The progressives want people to come in so they can just virtue signal how tolerant they are and how they're saving these poor little, I was about to say brown people. Well, that would sound a bit bad. But yeah, they treat like ethnic minorities as if they have special needs and they need to like speak up for them. It's like, no, they can speak up for themselves. Apart from the brainwashed ones, of course.
Yeah, and it was during the years of Margaret Thatcher, which the UK really got into the EU and all that shit.
Yeah, she was a key figure in 1975. We had a referendum on whether to. Ted Heath had previously taken us into what was then the Common Market in 1973, and 2 years later we had a referendum when Labour got in on whether we should stay in or leave. Margaret Thatcher was a key figure in keeping us in. Of course, the EU, well, the European Common Market as it was back then, was very different to the way it is now.
Well, it's different. I do wonder if Thatcher would, if she was alive, and obviously if she still had her mental health in order, because she was obviously a bit senile towards the end of her days, but had she been around for the referendum last year, I get the feeling she maybe would have been on Leave's side.
She would definitely have been on Leave's side.
Yeah.
When she was Prime Minister, she did say further EU integration, creating the single market, well, being one of the key figures in creating the single market, because it was all about free trade, and she was business friendly, pro free trade, and all that. But as the years went on, towards the end of her premiership, she began to turn quite strongly against the EU, because she saw that the EU was it was becoming more of a social union, becoming a much more of a supranational organization as opposed to just a trading bloc. And it reached out to the trade union, to get their support, which was the key turning point about 1988, to the social chapter. And,
just a minute. Are you hearing Chowder all right, Blue Planet?
Yeah, it's coming in all right.
Yeah. It's just it sounds a bit tinny, but I'm still making out what you're saying. But yeah, no, sorry, Chowder, go on.
Yeah, apologies for the sound quality. But
get a mic.
I'll do it. Anyways, yeah. So the EU reaching out to the unions, getting their back, EU workers' rights and stuff, and being much more of a statist organization. Margaret Thatcher did turn very strongly against them, and even after she left office, she actually supported the Tory rebels who voted against the Maastricht Treaty, which was the creation of the modern EU. Yeah, so she became very much Eurosceptic. the further she got into being Prime Minister after.
Yeah.
Well, she especially it was just before she left office. She made it very clear her thoughts on the idea of the EU Parliament, and she basically said, "This is undemocratic. Why the fuck would Britain even agree to be a part of this?"
Yeah, this was and why she the rest of her cabinet turned on her. It was because that she was so Eurosceptic, and the rest of them, John Major chief among them, who succeeded her as Prime Minister, they turned against her.
Well, that was one of the reasons why Lord Howe left. It was because there was such an immense disagreement between her and him on the issue of the EU that he was just like, "Well, I'm just going to leave. I can't do this."
Yep.
Got to say, Blue Planet, you seem to know more about British politics than I do.
I keep my eyes and ears open. I learned.
Yeah. We're all human waste. High communist in space. We should put it to the vote. Should I ban him for 300 seconds?
What's he said now?
He's calling us human waste, and my feelings are deeply hurt.
Well, he would know about human waste being a communist.
Yeah, true.
That's the primary fuel source of communist Russia.
We need to form an undemocratic parliament and vote on this, even though the vote won't matter.
Yeah. I say we do block them just for keks.
Yes.
Yes.
Keks are always.
Well, it's at least 2 out of 3, so
Make it 3.
make it 3, all right.
3, number 1.
Right, into the naughty corner you go.
Siberia.
I've not given you guys any wrenches. I don't know how to do it. I'm still pretty noobish with all this.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
So,
I guess I could share this story that really pissed me off.
yeah. Let's go away from grooming gangs, and I think I've covered that. If you want further enragement, watch Sargon's video. He actually bangs the desk several times, so you know shit's going down. But yeah, Blue Planet, you go ahead with what's been pissing you off recently, then, please.
All right, so this is from Politico, and the article's title is "Democrats Dread Hillary's Book Tour." Reviving the 2016. Yeah, that's not a good endorsing headline there, Hillary. When Politico is giving you that, should probably tell you something. Reliving the 2016 nightmare is the last thing the party needs right now, many say. Democratic operatives can't stand the thought of her picking the scabs of 2016 again. The Bernie Sanders divide, the Jim Comey casting a blame on Barack Obama for not speaking out more on Russia, because that would have changed things, apparently. Alums of her Brooklyn headquarters, who were miserable even when they thought she was winning, tend to greet the topic with, "Oh God, I can't handle it," and "the final torture."
Oh my God, you guys, I can't even.
Well, anyway, this is this not a good thing, though, if she comes out and doesn't shut up in that case? Because it will just keep people more turned against the Democrats.
Yes and no, because yes, it'll turn the screw even more in for the Democrats, but it's bad because she wants to run again. She the only reason she's doing this is because she's setting herself up for another fucking run for president. I guarantee it.
Do you think she will be running in 2020?
Maybe not 2020,
but in the future.
But 2024. I bet she'll run for it.
Jesus Christ! Does the Constitution allow a failed candidate to run again?
Oh yeah, we've had many figures throughout our history who have run for president like 3 or 4 times and still didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nixon originally ran in 19...
Donald Trump did run in 2000 when Bush won.
Well, he wasn't
briefly,
really serious.
Was he not?
No, he wasn't really. He was I think he was doing that more for like a publicity thing back in 2000.
Right. But he pulled out, though, before the election took place, though, didn't he? Because
yeah.
Was it David Duke or son joined his party?
Yeah, the Reform Party.
Yeah. But they ended up being basically a entity.
Yeah. Well, they pretty much are all. From what I can, from the outside looking in, it just looks like every party's a non-entity except for the big two.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad thing about American politics these days, is that you're not going to go anywhere unless you're allied with either of the two parties.
Mm-hmm. It's quite similar over in Britain as well. I mean, there's two parties. They for whatever reason they say there's the big three because the Liberal Democrats are meant to be the complete the big three, but they never have a chance. Even when they were had their heyday in 2010, they still only got in as a part of a coalition with the Conservatives. So it's either Labour or the Tories, and I'm not a fan of the Tories, but and I used to because being a working class Scottish person, it was sort of drummed into you to be anti-Tory. No matter who else you voted for, you were always anti-Tory. But now I find myself voting for the Tories to avoid the damage that Labour would do. And if I was in America, I'd probably vote Republican just to avoid Democrat damage. That would just be my mindset.
Well, I mean, the Lib Dems shot themselves in the foot with Nick Clegg. He's the one to blame for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he just bent over and took it up the ass from Cameron.
But yeah, political reporters.
Yeah, go back.
Yeah, it's all right.
Clinton.
Political reporters gripe privately and on Twitter about yet another return to the campaign that will never end. Campaign operatives don't want the distraction, just as they head into another election season. From both parties want the focus on an agenda that's getting more complicated by the week. But with a new NBC News poll showing her approval rating at 30%, the lowest recorded for her.
Fake news.
Clinton kicks it off on Tuesday with a signing at the Union Square Barnes & Noble in New York. She'll keep it going all the way through December, all across the country.
Wow, what a commitment.
This bitch is going to shill her book until Christmas. Are you fucking kidding me?
Until Christmas? Well, obviously that's the holiday season. Everyone gets their presents, so yeah, she'll be wanting a lot of copies of her book to be given for Christmas.
I would rather use her book as like a coaster. That's what I'd rather use it for.
Yeah.
Of anything.
I'd rather not get the book at all. I'd rather, as you mentioned before we went live, just get like a free copy somewhere online, like a digital copy.
Yeah. Or if I did get like a physical copy, I'd use it for like kindling for a fire. That's what I would do.
Book burning. You know what I would do? Did you vote for Trump at the last election? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, I did. I voted for him.
What you should do is, if you could ever get your hands on a copy of Hillary's book, keep it as a trophy to remind you, and then put a picture of Donald Trump's face on it as well.
Did you guys see the meme he retweeted about her?
Oh, what's Daddy been up to now?
Well, look, I won't spoil it for you, but one of you guys on the screen go on Donald Trump's profile and see something he retweeted recently about Hillary's book. It was
can have a look now.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get back onto your topic in a minute. I feel like we keep breaking this up. British invasion.
It'll take a minute to find it, so keep reading the article.
Okay. Maybe at the worst possible time, as we are fighting some of the most high-stakes policy and institutional battles we may ever see, at a time when we're trying to bring the party together so we can all move forward together, stronger together. Said Representative Jared Huffman, a Democrat from Northern California. She's got every right to tell her story. Who am I to say she shouldn't, or how she should tell it? But it's difficult for some of us, even like myself, who've supported her, to play out all these media cycles about the blame game and excuses. Well,
it was like 50 things she's blamed now for her loss.
Yeah, it's like it changes every month. Like from one month it'll be the Russians, 1 month it's Bernie Sanders, and then the next it's James Comey.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one thing that's I don't know if it's fair to call Hillary like proper leftist, because she doesn't strike me as being like a communist, but rather corporativist. But one thing that you get from that she seems doing that the left does is they do not take agency for their own shortcomings. It's always got to be someone else's fault.
Yep.
It strikes me as when a socialist blames the failure of socialism on literally everything else but like socialism itself. That's what it reminds me of.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I found it.
Oh yeah. So if you can get it on the screen.
Yeah, I'll do it just for a few seconds. Yeah, we're breaking you up. See, this is a British stream, so we've got we take precedence here.
All right, you're sharing.
And I just need to present myself. See, I'm still pretty crap at all this. I prefer to be a guest on the stream than to host them, but I'm still happy to host as and when. Yeah, this is Donald Trump's Twitter page. Trumpism 5.0. See, I've never seen anything like this in politics. He's just not changed at all. That's what's good about him. He's still the same Donald Trump. What happened? I happened.
He is unstumpable.
I saw like a really funny tweet. Someone said someone like put up a picture of the book and like the title with Hillary. I guess I'll go back to the story, but
yeah, I'm trying to get you.
It was funny because they had the title. It said "What happened," and then her name at the bottom, and it said, "Rarely do you ever get the answer to the question of a book on the front cover."
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful. That.
I think that was Glenn Greenwald of all people.
He's slightly based.
Yeah, when he's not being a cuck, he does make some pretty good points. In a tweet late Tuesday night, Huffman pleaded with Clinton to stop blaming Sanders for her loss, as she partly does in the book. According to excerpts that leaked ahead of its release, Huffman said the tweet had gotten a lot of likes from his colleagues, albeit in private conversations with them. Yeah, because they're cucks and they don't want people to know what they really think.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
Yep.
There is a collective groan whenever there's another news cycle about this.
Well, it's a good thing. If the Democrats want to move on from Clinton, then she's not exactly giving them a chance to do that. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like the campaigning has never really stopped, even since Trump was sworn in.
Yep.
I'm just pouring water.
Yeah, and they go on to say McCain, who ran for president in 2008, said, "I respect and admire Hillary, and she's a friend of mine. But with these kinds of things that happen in life, you've got to move on. You've got to get to quickly move on." Got a point. For Clinton, it's not about the future of the Democratic Party. She's promoting the book because she doesn't think the story of 2016 has been told properly. No, I think it's been told. I think we know what happened.
Oh, but we know everything that happened.
Yeah, we know all the things that went on behind the scenes, Hillary.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Now, what she wants to do is like tell a sort of distorted, untrue version of what happened. And
yeah,
I could just imagine it being full of contradictions. You know, if she this, I don't know. I've not seen the book, obviously the little bits in it, but I'm taking it she's blaming different people at different stages. Would that be right?
Yeah, it's fucking awful. Like, and this person, whoever's writing this piece, is absolutely on the money. She doesn't care about the future of her own party. She's a selfish, narcissistic bitch, and she cares about her ego. That's what it's about. She doesn't give a fuck about winning.
And the Clinton empire as well.
Oh yeah.
Because I could just imagine, it's probably inevitable that Chelsea will run one day, won't she?
Probably.
Oh God, help us.
Yeah. See, that's one thing that does, like, I know it's supposed to be that anyone can run for president, but I don't like the idea of certain families like running constantly.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of like legacy candidates. You know, it's.
Yeah. Like
Is that like is that what you could say about George W. Bush then, to an extent?
Yeah, it's like political royalty / political legacy candidates. You know, they're running on family name and connections and shit.
Yeah. The whole point of the American Revolution was that American politics wouldn't be decided by, dynasties, or as you would say, Blue Planet dynasties.
It's kind of ridiculous how we supposedly have a revolution, but we've seen a return of like the patronage type system of politics return. It's like, wow, we fought a war for nothing.
Yeah, you'd be as well staying under British rule, eh?
I consider Trump's election to be essentially the second American Revolution.
I guess you could make that case.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. I think she should just zip it, but she's not going to, said one top Democratic donor who spoke with Clinton about the book this summer.
Oh, sorry.
Many people
I've seen that little headline in the middle there. Trump hits new low in public opinion, but he's still beating Hillary Clinton.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, on you go.
No, but that's like the beauty of all this. It's like she's trying to like her failings as a candidate, and she's still more unpopular than Donald Trump is, and it's glorious.
It is, yeah. And see these public opinion polls. I bet they don't sample lots of people who voted Trump.
No.
Yeah, and honestly, how many people really answer like polls? Come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, polls are nothing to go on, but some people treat them as sort of like miniature elections.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Christopher Hitchens had a really good. He really made a good point about it. It's like, oh, so many Americans think about this, so many Americans think that, and he was basically saying, well, so fucking what? What does it matter if people think this? It doesn't matter because it doesn't tell us anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another good example was, if you don't mind me just bringing this up quickly, we had the most bourgeois thing you can imagine, and it was basically white middle-class Londoners marching for the EU. Supposedly there was 50,000, although that's probably bollocks. But they're just trying to like make it look as if the majority want to stay in the EU, when that's not the case.
This is the thing about the silent majority. They don't go out in the streets.
Oh no, they don't. I mean, I would never like go out in the streets at all. If I was like had like a camera crew, I'd maybe interview a few people in the way that what was that?
That was my fault. Sorry about that.
Jesus, just a bit shat myself there, dude.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's just a news alert.
Yeah, I think is that not Mark Dice that would do something like that? Go around just like interviewing people. I'd love to like do something like that and just like ask people, direct questions, and then see them struggle to answer. That would be quite funny. That would be the only reason I'd attend one of these demonstrations.
Yeah.
But all the people like who voted Brexit or most of the people voted Brexit and most of the people who voted Trump aren't really bothering attending these protests. They're just getting on with their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so are a lot of the Remain voters as well, to be fair.
Yeah, and I would make the argument that the people who voted for Brexit are the same people in America who voted for Trump. They're the same fucking people.
Yes,
more or less, yeah. There's a reason
the same
why
people.
Brexit and Trump are often like put in together, because they are sort of like, two arms of the same like anti-globalist machine that is trying to fight back, landing blows against the establishment. Because there's like different reasons to vote for Brexit. Like in the north of England, the towns that were badly affected by grooming gangs, it was immigration primarily for them, and also because they had immigrants that are in direct competition for low-paying work. But in the south of England, it was more to do with sovereignty and being against the centralized government in Europe. But they always a lot of the most militant Remainers love to strawman people who are pointing out the immigration problem by saying that they're totally anti-immigration. Like if I told a cultural Marxist what I thought about immigration, they would assume me to be anti-immigration, but within reason. I don't mind people coming in from time to time as long as it's a healthy, sustainable number. And as long as the people coming in will integrate well and will be self-sufficient, then doesn't matter. I'm for that.
Yeah, and it's also the same, I would say, in the U.S. That's a lot of the militant, those idiots wearing the pussy hats, those people, they're the types that they conflate immigration as a whole with legal and illegal immigration. They can't delineate between the two. And when we get onto the topic of immigration in the U.S., they just say immigration. They just say, "Oh, you're anti-immigration."
Mm.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's like, no, I am not opposed to the idea of immigration. I'm opposed to the idea of people just coming here, migrants coming here and depressing wages, and you just making excuses for them and treating them like they're children. That's what I can't stand.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same in the left. I mean, I'm sure it's mostly like the biggest cities where you get these sort of leftists, because that's the case here in the UK as well. One thing about migrant workers that have come from abroad, a lot of them are actually white. They're like from places like Poland, and you'd get I had there's a guy that I used to be quite friends with. He's a right progressive, and he was telling me when he was living with a couple of friends when they were living in a flat together. Next door, there was like 11 Polish dudes living together, and they were all like working for the minimum wage, and like being able to send that back home. But see, when they all live together, the way the costs are shared out, they don't have to pay much. So, they'll be happy to take on their wage because they'll get to keep more off it. But say you've got a young couple, a young man or a woman, they want to live together, and they decide to that they get the same jobs that the people are like going for, the migrants are going for, then basically the costs aren't spread out amongst 11 people, so it's not good for them. And there's a lot of like, oh, British workers are like lazy. Oh, there's obviously lazy people. I mean, I've got such neighbours that are absolute lazy cunts. But the thing is, the jobs that apparently they won't do, I'm more willing to put it down to they won't do it for a shit wage, which is fair enough. If they've got like a family to support, then they're going to have some sort like a better pay in order to, achieve their dreams.
Communist in space is back.
Oh God.
Yeah. I communist in space. No hard feelings, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the same, but like progressives here, they don't understand that what they're advocating for is basically like wage slavery. It's like, I don't think you really understand what it is you're advocating for, because if you did, you would realize that you are advocating for these people to come here not just illegally, but to be mistreated by corporations and to be paid far less than what they would be paid if they were legally working.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But because they're obviously migrants, and because they're presumably coming from, I'm guessing it's Mexico in America's case, so therefore they're not really white. So for that reason, they just want to stick up for them, and what they see is just like this white devil that's saying, "Oh, get back home, you Mexicans." It's not like that. No. Not for the most part. It's not like that at all, and they don't realize. But the thing is about the regressive left, they always seem to, in practice, everything they do actually harms the people they stand up for. Feminists refusing to condemn the Muslim rape gangs in the UK are harming the women that got assaulted because they don't want to come off as racist. And in this case, people coming into countries illegally and then working in shit jobs for shit pay, getting exploited by corporations, they're actually, endorsing that to happen subconsciously.
Yeah, and when they do come here, they're going to be mistreated, and no, they're not going to be able to go to anyone because American labor laws don't apply to them.
Yes.
Yeah, but they don't want to think that through, though. I mean, if you were going to like talk to an ideologue and try and get them to understand that, you wouldn't even be able to make your argument because you just get screamed at. There'd just be autistic screeching, and they'd be calling you a racist. And they're like, we're not even.
Well, I suppose the pro open borders crowd aren't as toxic as the people who just want to like completely upend the electoral college. Those cunts fucking infuriate me.
Yeah.
we call those people traitors.
Yeah, and they say, "Oh, well, it's undemocratic." I say, well, no, it's not undemocratic. It's part of what makes our democracy work. So not all democracies are created the same.
Well, technically, the United States is not a democracy, at least in the original Greek meaning of the term. You're a constitutional republic.
Yeah,
we're a federal republic.
Yeah, a federal constitutional republic with representatives in the legislature.
And the whole point of the Electoral College was that, as a federal country, each state should be represented equally. I mean, it doesn't entirely work out like that in the numbers in the Electoral College, but it does balance out more, the smaller states to the more populous states.
It's kind of like to bring it like to a historical example. It's kind of like the HRE in a way, because they had a very the Holy Roman Empire. They had a very a similar system of deciding who would be emperor. Not very. I mean, obviously there were some differences in certain areas, but I do think it is a comparison you could make between what they did in the Holy Roman Empire, the system they did to decide who would be emperor, and how the U.S. decides who's going to be president. I think that's the founders kind of got a little bit of influence from that idea.
Interesting. Okay, but this is the thing. I mean, an argument I like. People say, "Well, Hillary won the popular vote." Well, no, she didn't win the popular vote. She won California, and California does not represent the entire United States.
Well, I wouldn't even say just she won like all the major metropolitan areas. That's what she won. She didn't actually.
It's the big cities that generally do favor the progressive side.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm gonna go.
But she didn't really. If you really look at the she fucking got killed in like the rural parts of America, the parts of America that people typically, the media especially, they don't typically talk about. They don't give a fuck about.
Hey, Galahad, bring up the county map for the 2016 election.
Oh, the county map! It just made America look very red with like blue zits all over it.
Exactly, that's what it is.
But it goes to show that she's not speaking to a majority of Americans. She's speaking to she's speaking to the coastal elites who live in the major areas. But outside of that, she doesn't really care about what anyone else thinks.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well that's the thing. She didn't really go into any of the central states, did she, for her campaigning that much? Apart from
she didn't really campaign in Wisconsin, which ended up going for Trump, which hadn't gone to a Republican in like 25, 30 years.
And Obama got elected there twice.
She pretty much did no campaigning in Michigan, which is, a big, red flag right there, because Michigan is very important if you're going to win in that part of the country. You got to have Michigan. And she barely, I think she had like one big rally, super rally, like the day before the election in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, she didn't really near like the Rust Belt. That's about as much campaigning as she did in that part of the country.
As the corporate candidate, she doesn't even give a fuck about the Rust Belt. That's the problem.
Oh yeah,
compared to Trump, who I remember seeing him one of his campaigns. One of his rallies in Michigan, he really reeled the Michigan in. You could just tell that they were going to go that way.
It's really, I'm just disappointed with the way that our government functions right now. I don't like how it works.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we've got to drain the swamp, right?
I wish.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking of other things to cover. You guys all right to go on, or you had enough?
Yeah, we can go on to whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not in any
I can
rush
keep
to go.
going. But I was going back to the point I was making earlier. If you actually look at the vote share in California, Hillary won the U.S. election in a popular vote by 2 million votes. The margin is the same in California. She won California by 2 million votes. That's the point I was making earlier. Yeah.
Oh, you were telling me in the last stream, Chowder, about Jefferson State, what would have been Jefferson State, and how that went mostly Trump.
Yeah.
That was quite fascinating.
That's something I would like to see. I don't know if it's going to happen, but a Jefferson State, maybe one or two other proposed states.
What do you think, Blue Planet? Need any more states over there?
No, I think we have enough problems as it is.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we haven't moved on Puerto Rico. We still keep it as like our colony, pretty much.
Yeah. You treat Puerto Rico the way we used to treat yous. Well, see, to be honest, you guys are British. You just betrayed us all those years ago. That's why I always say
we built up a pretty nice little batch of colonial holdings in the Caribbean. We did.
Yeah, true. Well, you do follow on pretty well. We taught you as well. You've still got that British spirit in you.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were thinking with Cuba though. That was a mistake.
Yeah, what one was that about Cuba? I actually don't know much about this. I know that Cuba hasn't really had great relations. You want to give me a wee history lesson here, please?
Well, you know that for many centuries, the Spanish were the dominant force in the Caribbean region and across like Latin America.
Yeah, I know quite a bit about that. Yeah, the Spanish Empire.
So, in 1898, for some reason, Teddy Roosevelt got the great idea that, hey, why don't we go to war with Spain and take Cuba and Puerto Rico from the Spanish? They're already really weak. They're not going to put up much of a fight, so why not? So basically, we didn't go quite directly to war, but suspiciously, the battleship, the USS Maine, blew up in the harbor of Havana, and no one really knows why it blew up. And then we use it as a justification to go to war with Spain and took fucking Cuba and Puerto Rico off of them.
Right.
Torpedoes can't melt masts.
How long did the US hold Cuba for?
It was for quite a long time. I think it was sometime until like the 1930s or so, or 1940s, where we let kind of like Cuba unofficially be like independent, but we still kind of had a strong man that we were backing, Fulgencio Batista.
Yeah.
That's who it was. And cancer.
Yeah. So that's quite fascinating. I had no idea. I knew that obviously America and Cuba had their problems, but I never realized that he's had a hold of Cuba for some time. Is that where the Cuban communists then sort of, when they took over, were they sort of inspired by that?
They didn't like the massive amounts of disparity between wealth in Cuba, and they also didn't like how this is you probably don't know this, but the mob actually built like a shit ton of casinos in Havana.
What?
Yeah, they built a fuck ton of casinos in Cuba.
Right.
And then after the communist revolution, the communist government nationalized them.
And did they keep them open, or did they just shut them down?
Oh yeah, they're still open for business. You can go to them, but they're like really shit now because they're fucking 60, 70 years old at this point.
Yeah.
And Cuba has like no money, so.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. A little bit about Cuba as well. I remember it being I remember from playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag, how it was a Spanish colony. Well, obviously I should know that anyway. But that gave me a good wee insight into the Spanish and British fighting over territories.
Side note, this is sort of what leads to one of the more compelling conspiracy theories about the JFK assassination, is that it was a cooperation between the CIA and the mafia. They wanted to assassinate Kennedy because he wanted some sort of rapprochement with Cuba, and the hold on a second. The mob wanted their presence back in Cuba, and I guess they thought maybe Johnson or whoever would try and overthrow Castro and place their own puppet regime back there when they'd allow the mob to operate again.
All right.
And so the theory goes that the CIA teamed up with the mafia to assassinate Kennedy.
That's interesting.
Make that happen. And Oswald was just a patsy. Jack Ruby, who shot him, he was a monster, I think.
All right. Did you hear anything about that Blue Planet?
Yeah, that was that's one of the theories behind the assassination of JFK.
All right. Yeah, I've not heard that one yet. Oh, that's quite interesting.
They made a couple of documentaries.
I've actually been to the spot where he was killed. Because I live like only 4 hours away from Dallas, so.
All right.
Oh man, you just doxed yourself.
I don't care. We have guns. I'm okay.
Nice. Did you get affected by Hurricane Harvey then, by any chance, or were you out of his range?
We got some flooding in my part of the city, but it wasn't as bad as like inside the city. It was a fucking nightmare inside the city.
Right. Did you still put a sign at your house saying looters will be shot?
The water wasn't quite that high, but
right.
So
it wasn't very looter friendly then. That's good.
Fish will be shot.
Although I did enjoy seeing the sight of some idiot try to drive his Porsche Boxster through like 2 or 3 feet of water. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't end well.
Well, what happened? Was it wrecked?
Yeah, it stalled out.
Oh dear. Poor fella.
I drive the Boxster, man. He deserves
I don't care.
Yeah.
He's a cocksucker anyway for driving a Boxster. Everyone knows you don't buy a fucking Boxster if you're gonna go Porsche. You buy a 911.
Yeah. So, we're quite lucky in Britain. We don't really have that much extreme weather. What we do have is shit weather. Like, what we have is basically wind. Like wind. Well, here in Scotland, at least. I mean, England gets it better because they're lucky. But basically, it's just mostly wind and rain, and there's only like 2 seasons: hot wind and rain, or warm wind and rain, should I say, and cold wind and rain. Because even in winter, we don't even get that much snow anymore.
Yeah.
I think we had one in 2010 where everything came to a standstill because like nobody knew how to cope in that situation because it was that rare. But our summers are usually terrible.
They are quite poor.
Yeah.
But I can't last in the sun, so I guess I'm happy about that.
How can you not last in the sun?
Well, yeah, it's odd. I just heat does not agree with me.
No, does it not? I mean, no offense, but surely you'd be able to cope better with it, would you not?
You'd think. I was actually born in Bristol, so maybe that had something to do with it.
What was that, sorry?
I was born in Bristol, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Born in Bristol, right.
I wasn't acclimatized straight out of the moon, to hot temperatures.
Oh, you would not survive in Texas then.
Well, I don't know.
Are you a native to Texas?
Yeah, I'm born here and I've been here my whole life.
I was just thinking, I didn't really hear the Texan accent, but I'm starting to hear it a bit now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a lot more common if you go like out to the middle of nowhere, West Texas. That's where
The ranch accent,
That's
actually,
worse.
you'll find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say I tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
I love King of the Hill. It's a great show.
Say looters will be shot on
Yeah.
sight in the most ranch accent you can.
Looters will be shot on sight.
Say
Yeah.
God dang it, Bobby.
Fuck you. I'm not.
I didn't hear that. What did he say?
I said, say God dang
Fuck
it.
you both.
I could give you a Scottish one of looters will be shot on sight. It'll be, aye, you fanny balls will be fucking getting shot, mate, if you can try and jib my stuff. Did you understand any of that?
Yeah.
Has Tail taught you
Just
any?
enough.
Just enough, yeah. Yeah, it's like it's strange because like when I was a teenager, I spoke a lot of what you could call the Scottish slang, but I'm more well spoken now than I used to be. I think it was my years working at the airport that sort of made me better because I was obviously talking to people from all over the world. But have you heard the term ball bag before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you're quite well versed in Scottish. We had quite a. It wasn't a hurricane, but it was probably the closest thing we've had to a hurricane, and it was in Scotland, and we dubbed it Hurricane Ball Bag.
Yes.
Right. Just look at see if there's any more stories to look into. Any of you guys been following anything?
What do you make of Junker's threats? Any validity?
Nah, that just pretty much sounds like Juncker to a T. He is like a man who's not been elected by anyone, trying to just try to show bravado to try and derail Brexit because he doesn't want it to happen. Clearly,
No, because he stands to benefit from stay with the UK staying in.
oh, of course. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Juncker.
I don't think anyone is really.
I've come to the conclusion that I can't read anything from The Independent.
Oh, The Independent, I actually think they are worse than The Guardian at times. I think the best way to describe them would be like a discount BuzzFeed because they have like all this clickbaity progressive bollocks.
You know what I love to do when I'm looking for trolling for cancer?
What?
I like to go to HuffPost and look at their voices section.
Yeah, I'm actually doing that.
You want to check it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you want to check out.
You know, the absolute worst headline I ever saw, not just in The Guardian, but I think anywhere. Chowder, I think I shared this with you. No, I'm Chowder. Sorry. Galahad.
Galahad.
I shared this with you. It was the one about the earrings. You remember that one?
Earrings? Was that is that to do with Melania by any chance? Ivanka, right? Yeah. See, I got them mixed up. Yeah. That's misogyny doing that.
Better you than Trump.
HuffPost gay voices. That's like the fourth search result.
Yeah.
Right.
They renamed it to Queer Voices to be more inclusive.
Right. When I first heard the term queer, I thought that was just another word for gay guy, but it's obviously appearing to be a lot more.
Yeah.
They've got black voices, Latino voices, women, and queer voices.
What one would you call the most cancerous? I want some lolcows.
Probably women.
Women. Right.
Always the women.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. There's been a couple of things on. Yesterday it was Sky News, and today it was BBC News. I think the one that I saw today was a lot worse. You had about how progressives always want to get women to take high-paying jobs, like stuff like STEM and anything technology related. Well, you had this. There was this woman. She's a person of color, but that's not relevant. But she's very. You can tell she's just bourgeois. She's really wanting to really push in the boat to try and get more women into STEM, but you would like have to take a lot of women that want to like be vets or to be hairdressers. Say sorry for the sake of diversity, you've got to study STEM.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that they talk is if there's like a plan in action to keep women out. I mean, there's not. I mean, if a woman wants to go for it, then I'm all for it. If she's good at it, if it's what she's interested in, great. But if she's doing something that they don't deem to be good enough to tackle the mythical wage gap, then they've just got to leave that. And one thing that I've noticed when they talk about no, on you go.
This was a big story here in the U.S. that a lot of SJWs are shitting their pants over.
Right, what one's this? Do you want me to present
Betsy DeVos. No, it's fine. I'll present.
All right. Hang on a second.
Betsy DeVos, the education secretary, confirms she will roll back Obama-era Title 11 guidelines. Basically, this is about how college campuses deal with rape accusations.
Bloody
right. In an interview with CBS News on Thursday evening, Betsy DeVos confirmed that she will be rolling back current Title 11 guidelines. The interview followed DeVos's speech at George Mason University's law school earlier on Thursday, where she called the Title 11 reporting process a failed system, and implied she would be rescinding the Obama-era Dear Colleague letter. Although the Secretary of Education did not announce any major policy changes, in her speech, she did confirm to CBS News' Jan Crawford that it is her intention to rescind the college campus sexual assault directives put in place during the Obama administration. Basically, Obama basically made it to where the government would withhold like federal funds from universities unless they do their guidelines and how universities handled like allegations of rape is fucking awful.
Allegations.
Yeah, allegations. Not even like actual like there's like proof that a rape happened, just allegations.
Yeah, and obviously it's always guilty until proven innocent when a guy rapes a girl in college, or when he allegedly rapes her in college.
And basically the reporting system that they were using was listen, believe. That's basically what their system was listen and believe.
Yeah, but that's bollocks, though, because that's just like basically political witch hunting. You know, you're just assuming because chances are the accused is someone you're probably not going to like, so they're just going to be onto his case and assume that he's done it. Which pisses me off even more when these feminists, sweep stuff like the Rotherham rape gangs under the carpet, and they're like, nah, maybe don't want to be racist there, but if there's an accusation, then he's already guilty. You should already be like, shut up on a noose. It's annoying.
Yeah, there were a lot of progressives and SJW types on Twitter who were basically saying that she was blaming rape victims and shit like that. And
she fuck. She was not. That is not victim blaming. It's just due process.
Do you guys want to see what the head of Planned Parenthood said about this?
Go on.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's fucking cancer. Let me just. Oh, great. Let me look up her name. Hold on. There we go. There she is. All right. You fucking cancerous.
See, Naples is trending. Is that an American city or is that the Italian one?
What's that?
I just saw Naples was trending in your Twitter feed. Is there a city called Naples in the States somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's Florida.
Yeah, maybe a town that's under siege from Imra. Did you hear about how people thought that it was sexist that the deadlier storms have female names?
Oh, here we go. let me just click it so you can read this shit. Survivors of sexual assault deserve to be believed and supported, not brushed off and blamed. And I responded, well, there we go. Fuck innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, because it's obviously.
And this is.
On you go.
This woman is the head of Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, it just sounds like they are one of the most regressive movements.
And what's even worse is that her mother was actually the governor of Texas.
All right.
That's the only reason. Not really. No. This was like way back in like the early 90s, I think.
Right.
But that's the only reason why she is where she is because of her mother was like the governor of Texas. That's the only reason why.
Mm-hmm.
Not on her own merit.
Yeah. So basically just like the Clinton empire, then she's got her own mini empire there.
Yeah, it's all about who you know.
Yeah.
Bill Burr, he had a great joke about Hillary Clinton. It was like, blows my mind. She got to be a senator just because she was the president's wife. I mean, what? Is Tom Brady's wife going to be the next quarterback of the Rams? Is that how it works?
Awesome. Yeah, it's just ridiculous how people are making this out like this is a bad thing, and in fact, I would actually say it's a rather good thing.
Well, it is because if a woman's genuinely been raped, then they will get to the bottom of that, and then accordingly, the perpetrator will be punished. Because if it is true that man in X situation has raped a woman, then I do want the law to come down on him with, as hard as possible. But in my opinion, and this would trigger certain people, but in my opinion, a person who falsely accuses someone of raping them is every bit as bad as an actual rapist. That's just my opinion. I could be just a misogynistic bastard for thinking that. I should be sent to the gulags for thinking that.
You need to be re-educated.
Yeah, I need to unlearn what I've learned. That's a popular word amongst the cultists, eh? Unlearn.
And by re-educated, maybe
castrated. Just out of curiosity, what did you make of that L'Oreal model who got shit canned? What do you think of her?
I don't know.
I'm sort of like thinking, obviously free speech, she should be allowed to say what she wants, but at the same time, at least they're doing it to people who, even do it in a progressive way instead of just those that question the status quo. And it's triggered some of the right people, but yeah, it's just like if it was a white person saying something like that about transgender blacks, then there'd be an uproar, and there would be justification in that getting them, then are getting kicked off.
This is from a regressive outlet. This is their take on the issue. You'll love this.
Is that her?
L'Oreal. Yeah, that's her. That's her.
Here. Oh, got to admit, I'd be fooled by that. That's a male to female, right?
Yep.
Without knowing the information, I'd somewhat be fooled. I probably would.
Her name is Monroe Bergdorf.
Yeah, well, if she was a real woman, I'd maybe consider white genocide with her, but think progress. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Think propaganda is more like it.
Yeah, not without a doubt. So,
L'Oreal.
Yeah. Doesn't even sound like a real name.
No, not at all. L'Oreal UK last week fired the brand's first ever trans spokesmodel, Monroe Bergdorf, after the Daily Mail published a Facebook post written by Bergdorf out of context. No, it was not out of context.
Oh, Jesus.
That.
No. That is absolutely unbelievable that they'll do that out of context. Like,
she literally said all white people are racist.
Yeah.
How is that out of context?
Well, no, it's not. I mean, if she put like smiley face, smiley emoji, she could have maybe made it look like a joke, but she was obviously being serious. I mean, she's obviously following the regressive belief system to the letter. when she says that, and then these guys come and say that was taken out of context. Was it? Fuck.
Yeah, it was just fucking awful. And then she says, they say, but in an industry where models who have historically been chosen for their ability to communicate another person's vision have social media platforms to galvanize followers and direct their own narratives, can we still expect them to be canvases? Well,
can we expect millennial wolves, Richard Spencer, to be blank canvases? Not that I agree with these guys, but surely if one side can one extreme can say something, why can't the other? Oh yeah, this is where the sort of the tribalism comes in, I think. Like,
well, and the thing is though, is like no one is arguing that she shouldn't be able to be political. Like no one's making that argument. But no, but if you get pointed out for being a racist, you don't get to cry victim.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that last part of that paragraph there is just classic, thick progressive straw man, and they always do that.
Yeah.
Ugh. Bergdorf's post, which was removed from Facebook because it violated the social media platform on the hate speech guidelines.
Careful what you wish for.
Was in response to the violence in Charlottesville. She wrote, honestly, I don't have the energy to talk about the racial violence of white people anymore. Yes, all white people.
That includes me.
Most of y'all
Does that include you as well? Or is this a sensitive topic?
I don't know.
You don't know what race you are. Are you a straight white male?
Well, part of my ancestry is like a sliver of it is Native American, so I got an out.
All right.
You have high cheekbones.
So you're pretty much then 95% to blame for this. Chowder Rangers 50% guilty for all this, but me, I'm like 100%. I've got blonde hair and blue eyes, so I'm like I'm basically Hitler's idea of a perfect man.
Because most of y'all don't even realize or refuse to acknowledge that your existence, privilege, and success as a race is built on the backs, blood, and death of people of color. Your entire existence is drenched in racism. By the way, if she's in the UK, why is she spelling color incorrectly?
Good point.
Yep.
Sorry, that triggered me a little bit, but
do you spell it in the British way then?
I mean, not typically, no, but whenever I encounter people from the UK, I'm used to them using, spelling it that way. Yeah. So that just
we speak me. We write traditional English and use write simplified English. Yeah, I mean, this is one thing I would see if I could just like talk to her for a few seconds and then explain, just to tell her like what goes on in like the Arab world. There's still black people being enslaved there. They have been for ages. Why are they not going to say that their history was built off slavery? Because it's just the white devil. It's just hatred for whites.
When are we going to talk about
I'm not
the child soldiers?
Sorry. Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, Jesus God. Christ, I'm having a lot of mental blanks right now. What was that I was going to say earlier? Yes. Don't tell me progressive, but the word slave comes from Slav, and it was white Slavs that were like the slaves to the Turks and to some of the Arabs. But that just rips apart their narrative. So
communist spaces white out the dinosaurs.
Oh, you're using common sense. Shh.
Yes. My ancestors owned slaves in Jamaica, communist in space. I actually believe that somehow. I don't know why, but I just believe it.
Let's see. You guys built the blueprint for this shit. Come see me when you realize. But then she spells it with realize with an S. What the fuck? Be consistent.
Make up your bloody mind,
woman.
She-man.
Racism isn't learned; it's inherited, and consciously or unconsciously passed down through privilege.
Yes, we are all.
Once white people are
ethnic racists.
Yeah.
Once white people begin to admit that their race is the most violent, oppressive force of nature on Earth, then we can talk.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's obviously you've got. I don't want to put it down to skin colours, but I'd still put stuff like Islamists on, perhaps Indonesian jungle tribes that still eat people, but they've got an excuse. They don't know any better.
I think the Timurids and the Turks were far more brutal than white people ever were.
The Turks, I don't know about the other group, but because I don't really know who they are, but the Turks definitely, the Ottoman Empire done a lot of things. And it's funny because here in the UK, our regressists love to use our colonial past, because basically the British Empire was the most successful, because ultimately that's where the US came from, and the US is the most powerful country in the world. Whereas other countries' colonialism ended up with socialist Spanish-speaking countries. But because of our colonial past and the slavery that was practiced there, they feel guilt for it. But if you were to ask anything, well, should anyone in Turkey today feel guilty for the Ottoman? They'd probably say no. And I don't believe that Turkish people alive today should feel guilty for what they've done, because they didn't do it. It's like me. I mean, when I think of white people having slaves, I think it was horrible, but I can't feel any guilt for it because I'm not responsible. I couldn't do anything. It's really that simple.
Oh, this is what I love. Let's see. A former classmate of Bergdorf snapped a picture of her post before it was removed and sold it to the Daily Mail. Wow, must not be much of a friend, though, is she?
Yeah.
L'Oreal officials.
That's like the evilest rag in the country if you were to listen to progressives. Daily Mail, that's practically Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but would BBC run with it, though? I don't think they would.
Oh, of course not. Of course they wouldn't. Any political storm, basically. I do sometimes.
Due to the nature of the post, Bergdorf no longer fit within the company's ideals of diversity, which L'Oreal says it champions.
What I will say to L'Oreal, at least they're being consistent, and because if it was a white person that said this, they would have been sacked. But most other companies would have just swept it under the carpet, if it was this black trans woman here. But no, they're keeping to what they perceive to be their principles. So fair play to them, and they've triggered the right people as well. So that's an added bonus.
But see, this is where it gets me. They say, this is not unheard of. Corporations often boast moral clauses and guidelines, and firing employees based on how they conduct themselves while associated with the brand is typically well within their contract. An official copy of Bergdorf's hasn't been released. Well, I wonder why. Probably because it's not really necessary.
It is, because a poor
let's
black
see.
woman's been sacked, and that's wrong no matter what. I mean, even if she walked into like a kindergarten and stabbed them all to death, I could just picture Think Progress saying, well, maybe she was provoked.
They were all white children.
This is what I can't stand. Being that Monroe was L'Oreal's first black transgender model, a thing that I could give a fuck about, broken down barriers that have been cemented with extreme corporate prejudices. Los Angeles-based publicist Jonathan Hay told Think Progress over email, but pushing the boundaries on what society deems acceptable to discuss regarding systematic racism, I think you mean systemic, and you'd still be wrong, but was just too much for the makeup brand, which is a major corporation that makes hundreds of millions of dollars from selling its products to white women. There's the rub for me.
White women. Well, women of all colours are using makeup, but if white women are higher than the other groups, it's because there's more of them. It's not because of a plan to, just appease them.
But the thing that really bothers me about this is these are the same people who go on and say racists should be fired from their jobs. But then when allegedly, a racist gets fired from their job,
it could have been someone just criticizing the doctrines of a certain religion that gets away with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, but then when it's somebody they like, oh no, we don't agree with this. Well, of fucking course you wouldn't agree with it.
I was thinking when sorry to change the subject a bit, but when Sargon, and I don't know if you've heard of Spinosaurus Kin, were having their fallout, and there was a lot of people on the sort of SJW side saying there are no bad tactics, only bad targets. And this kind of applies here, I think, because it's not
Yeah,
racism that they oppose when they're having a go at the white people. It's the person themselves, I believe.
yeah, they're making like a value judgment about large groups of people based solely on their skin color
Mhm.
and nothing else.
It's a hypocrisy. But then it's just the excuses that come up with all prejudice plus power. White people cannot be victims of racism. It's just so annoying, and it's quite scary. The type of people
Okay,
that have that influence.
I can kind of see the man. I can kind of see the man there.
Can you? Yeah, yeah. When Z whatever is in normal everyday mode and not photo shoot mode.
Yeah.
You want to play that? See if we can get any sound out of it.
I'd have to.
If it causes any problems,
play it through
fine.
I'll play it through my microphone.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
Right.
It'll be quality will be shit, but well.
Don't do it. Piers Morgan's on the other side.
What was that? Sorry.
Don't do it. Piers Morgan's on that interview.
Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan's so frustrating. He can be so on point and then so retarded in the space of a couple of days.
Yeah.
Hell, it's really low.
Yeah, but I actually can't hear anything. It's okay if it can't get worked. It's not an essential thing. I'll just watch it another time.
Yeah, she's just. It's pretty terrible, honestly.
Mm.
And I love how they're all coming to her defense. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's just because of what she is and not because of what she said.
Mm.
That's the problem I have with this.
I mean, we shouldn't be too harsh. I mean, if progressives didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any standards. I didn't admit that one, I have to say.
No, it does. It makes sense.
I can't bother listening to media on like anything these days because they always take the side of people who are clearly wrong.
Oh, they do, and it's not just in America; it's over here as well. Yesterday we had I was telling you about Sky News. I've forgotten most of it, but I just remember it was some bourgeois woman who just happens to be, Asian, but obviously just parroting all this stuff about. I think it was to do with the statues actually. Who I can't remember what the statue's name was. Don't know if it might come back to me, but yeah, just pointing out that he was white and a man. I mean, why does that even bear anything?
Yeah.
It's because white men are evil. That's why.
Yeah. So yeah, Galahad, bring up that if you can find that Guardian Ivanka Trump hearings article. Bring that up, and we'll get that before we leave.
What one is that?
I don't want to give it away. I want Blue Planet to be surprised by it.
By what?
Yeah, just search Guardian Ivanka Trump earrings.
All right.
I mean, it's
gonna be cancer.
It'll probably come back to me. I'm a bit brain dead at the minute.
It's beyond cancer. It's Ebola, is what it is.
When you become the very thing you've been mocking for ages.
I mean, that headline for me was just the stupidest headline I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, there's a chance you've probably seen this Blue Planet, but if you've not, you'll be laughing at this for ages to come.
This is just scraping the bottom of the barrel. It's the lowest of the low, in my opinion.
Oh no, I see the top story and it's not good.
Am I sharing the screen? Is it working?
Yeah.
Can you see it all right?
That is so incredibly bourgeois. I think Merkel is standing a little too close for comfort.
Yeah, Merkel. She is basically the spear that's killing Europe.
Yep. I mean, if you actually
When I
read
first
this
got
article,
another pair of earrings this week, she wasn't trying to look on trend. She was trying to make us think she was one of us. Jesus Christ.
like she's
Oh,
a
you know it.
like she's a bloody
You-
body snatcher.
I like how this author seems to know what Ivanka thinks.
Yeah. They're all bloody
no.
psychics
Well,
on the
yeah,
left.
they're very clairvoyant. They can like read us. That's why they know that we're all actually racist after all, and that we try to conceal it.
Yeah. Looks like someone's been dog whistling too much.
Is that dog coming from you, Blue Planet?
Yeah, I've got a border collie. He gets crazy.
All right.
They're
That's
saying
fine.
he's responding to our dog whistles. That's not that headline. It's just
Yeah, it's a lot of. I'm going to stop sharing now.
it's just the lowest of the low. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, oh, yeah, you were muted there for a second, Blue Planet. Was the dog barking?
No, it's good now.
That's fine. But yeah, it's like, yeah, the Guardian are just, they should be like considered the worst. I mean, I think the Independent sort of, since they went out of physical publishing, they've really turned into a BuzzFeed point two, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, someone's got to get those clicks to get those shekels.
Yeah. Shekels.
It's all about the shekels.
How's your conversion to Judaism coming along, dude? Are you getting any closer?
Well, I still want to.
You still want to, but the rabbi will tell you to get to fuck.
Why will he do that?
But they're like that. They make it very hard to convert.
All right. Well, I'll be persistent.
Yeah, that's good.
But no, I mean, I haven't actually approached a rabbi or anything at this point.
Just having a look through the Guardian to see if there's any more lols.
Oh, there's always laws.
Yeah.
If not, you could always go to Everyday Feminism.
Yeah. Or I could go to Owen Jones' Twitter feed, but I'm blocked, so I'll have to go into a private window.
I'm not.
For not. For now. I think the last thing I said to him before I was blocked was Owen likes playing the victim. I think it was replying to.
Let me check. Jones has me blocked. Oh wow, I'm not blocked. I can actually see his Twitter.
It took me a long time to get blocked, to be fair. I mean, I did tweet, like, not usually trolling stuff. I would just mock his view.
These people on the left mocking is trolling.
Disagreeing
Oh,
is trolling.
You'll love Owen's first tweet. Let me screen share.
Right, I'll present you.
Cancer.
It should be ready to present you when you're ready.
I'm presenting. Is it presenting?
For me, it's currently not.
I can't see it.
It's just got your globe icon.
Okay. Oh, am I presenting now?
Let me just double check. Not just now, no.
Oh.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Let me see if I do this. Okay. That's weird. Oh, right. Hold on. Let me do this. There we go. Look at this. The right to free speech does not give you the right to a platform. How the writer of abuse... Right.
Jesus Christ, that's
Oh,
Owen Jones. Peak
Owen.
Jones.
Oh, Owen. His second tweet 21 minutes ago. If you're a public sector worker who wants to strike over Tory imposed pay cut, Labor will back you. Yeah, fucking course you will.
Yeah.
Chaos Surprise.
McDonald, Jesus Christ, communist McDonald.
Yeah.
Communist Little Red Book McDonald.
That was brilliant. His personal signed copy. I'll give him some credit. Osborne does have some skill.
Have you
retweeted someone talking shit?
Yeah, did you hear about Rees-Mogg's views on abortion and gay marriage?
Yes,
No.
No. Oh no, he's someone that's becoming quite popular, but he's not like one of the main conservative. He's more of a backbencher, but he's emerged as the favourite to succeed Theresa May as the leader of the Conservatives. But he was just like brutally honest about his views because of his Catholic upbringing. That he's against gay marriage and against abortion. And I could just picture Owen Jones like screeching about that while silently sweeping under the carpet the Muslims that have the same view. But that's all right, double think and all that.
A Catholic being the prime minister. This might be an issue.
Could be. I don't know. I mean, I could just picture like a Muslim becoming prime minister of the UK or being allowed to run.
Yeah, probably Mr. Khan.
Oh God!
Oh God!
I don't want that. London's really suffering under his watch. Stabbings are just accelerating right now.
Mm-hmm.
That picture of him and the dogs earlier, those poor doggies. You realise they'll get less biscuits under his regime.
Great turnout for Owen Jones and Shipley. So hopeful. That's really not that big of a crowd, to be honest. It's kind of small.
It's just a small venue, but yeah, obviously if they can fill a small venue, that's a huge crowd. Women's March.
Oh, cancerous. Oh God.
Jesus Christ. Have you heard of the Women's Equality Party in the UK?
Yes, and it's horrible.
Yeah, you could probably picture it, but it is like the most insufferable thing. Like
this is great.
Oh, what have we got here?
Philip Davies has filibustered free hospital parking for cares, requiring landlords to make rented homes fit for human habitation, measures to reverse NHS privatization, use of animals in circuses, both first aid and sex relationship education in schools, to filibuster the Istanbul Convention on preventing violence against women and domestic violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won. So hard luck for Owen there.
Is he the one that joined that feminist panel, even though he's an anti-feminist?
Oh yeah, he's on the Feminist and Equalities Committee, or Women and Equalities Committee.
Yeah, he's the one. I knew there was one, but here's me. I'm asking an American to actually correct me on British politics.
Yeah, he's a legend, Philip Davies.
Yes, I remember Sargon's video on that. It was Philip Davies in the Feminist Temple of Doom.
Yeah, I don't know if one of the women that he was with in that interview, I can't tell if it's Caroline Lucas of the Green Party or that bint who's in charge of the WEP, the Women's Equality Party.
Sophie Walker, I believe the name is.
6 and 2 3.
Yes.
Green Party and Women's Equality Party. I can just every time I see his face, the Soviet national anthem just rings in my head.
Hold up a second.
Soyuz!
For the many, not the Jew.
God, that fucking ad with that one like girl who was complaining about schools was just fucking.
Oh, what one was it? Can you go and search for it? It'll just come back. It's because I'm so.
It was like she was some girl in Buckinghamshire, and she was going to school there, and she failed her 11 plus, and basically she was.
No, I remember. Yeah, was that like in the lead up to the election?
Yeah, she was basically saying we should change the education system because I didn't do well in it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, makes
hold on.
yeah, it's just the thing about equal. What was that? Sorry.
See if you can hear this.
Yeah, I can hear it.
God. Communist in space is creaming himself.
Yeah. Give me an address, communist in space. I'll send the wipe so you can clean your keyboard after that.
It is a bloody good anthem.
Yeah, get yourself a tissue and clean up after yourself.
He's just Randy Marsh right now. He didn't say that. I just felt a vergence in the force, as if one communist was so happy.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is just.
Excuse me.
Well, then again, Jeremy Corbyn's Twitter is kind of like it's cancer, but it's not as bad as Owen Jones's cancer.
I know. I mean, even for like a fully fledged communist, he still like applies the sort of tweeting style of a robotic politician. Whereas Owen Jones, you can just tell the raw emotion in him. That's
we'll go here.
He gets very emotional. Does Owen? Oh, what have we got? Oh no! Oh God! It's Jabba. It's Jabba's sister.
Oh dear.
It's amazing.
Britain's brutal immigration detention system. If anything, it's very soft. The British immigration system. It's been hard on certain people recently. There was where was he? Was it a white guy who was born to a British parent, but he was born in Australia, but he was deported for whatever reason. And I remember a story from a few years ago. I don't know. I think it was one of those British islands that's mostly with black people, and there was one that served in the British Army, married a British woman, had a kid, but I think he got involved in a fight and he defended himself, and he was deported for that.
I like this. Diane Abbott retweeted. When it comes to the refugee crisis, the government isn't doing enough to assist those fleeing war and persecution.
Oh, click that. I want to read what she's got to say. Because it's her article. Isn't doing enough.
Oh boy.
But are they from Syria? Are they from Iraq? Or are they from like places that are not in war at this present moment?
Yeah.
No.
One of her nicknames is the Abapotamus. Yeah. I didn't know that one either.
I will forever remember her response about the police.
What one was that?
She said that the increase in police officers would cost £300,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just to think that she could potentially have been part of the ruling cabinet.
Oh God!
Like worrying.
Mm.
God help Britain if that
apparently her and Jeremy Corbyn had an affair once.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
That's the only reason she has her job.
That and she's a black woman.
Let's see. It was recently revealed that just 5% of refugees resettled from Syria under the government's Vulnerable Persons Relocation Program have disabilities.
Just to clarify, is she talking about actual Syrians, or is she just assuming that all the migrants that have poured in are from Syria? It's not exactly made it clear.
Well, yeah.
Is that a rhetorical question?
I'll carry on.
It's Diane Abbott, after all.
Yeah.
So, this is despite the fact that Britain's pledge to resettle refugees made specific reference to supporting disabled Syrians, and that the VPRP was set up in 2014 primarily to accommodate the most at-risk groups. This is truly appalling and a new low in this government's treatment of refugees. But okay. How are you defining refugees? Who are the refugees?
It certainly isn't those ISIS sleeper agents that are pretending to be refugees. People that are coming over from North Africa, places that are currently not in war.
Mm.
Because remember, it was only because of what ISIS was doing in Syria that this started this crisis in the first place. But they're just coming from anywhere.
Yep. There was a YouTube ad. It said inside the Syrian refugee crisis, and I thought I can see two things wrong with that title already.
Yeah, what?
Syrian refugee.
Syrian
they're not all Syrians, and they're not all refugees.
Oh no, but they obviously they'll get, because there has been real refugees. So what they'll do is they'll get the story of a real refugee and use that to sort of paint the picture that that's everyone that's been flooding into Europe.
Yep.
The last time I was streaming with you, I don't know how much into detail I went with this, but Casualty was on, and they were doing that. Was it you that told me about that actually?
Yeah, they may have been.
Yeah, they were showing that people who were trying to get over in the UK from Calais in France, and it was showing actual children and actual women in the thing, but that is so inaccurate. It's mostly fighting age men, if not all of them.
Yeah.
Or like when the media had that, they had like four or five Muslims standing together, and they said that was a protest, but then the pictures came out that they were just like setting up for like a live shot, and there was like no one else there.
That was so blatant. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I actually uploaded that onto my channel. That setup. It's not got many views though. I sometimes wonder if I've actually sort of shadow banned, because it sometimes says that I've got no content on my channel, but then you click videos, or maybe I'm just totally shit.
I think I'm shadow banned on Twitter.
I sometimes wonder, like, are you into gaming at all?
Yeah, I game.
Yeah, do you ever interact with Feminist Frequency?
I follow her just so I can like refute anything that she says.
Right.
I'm that asshole.
Yeah. I do the same sometimes. Sometimes I just try to. This is probably the closest I get to trolling, just to see if she'll block me. But I sometimes wonder if I'm just muted instead. That's kind of like the crown and trophy I'm looking for on Twitter.
Yeah. Say Blue Planet. Tell me what you think of this. Communist says, "Can you tone down the Kennedy accent?" He's referring to me. Yeah, he said that last time as well.
I was about to say, I'm.
What do you think? Do you think I sound like a Kennedy?
You'd sound like a Kennedy if you had like a Kennedy fortune.
Huh?
You're missing the fortune. That's what you need.
Does my accent sound like similar to that Kennedy family accent, in your opinion?
You'll need to work on getting a sort of New York Jew accent, because they have like their distinct accent.
I don't need to work. No. I don't need to work on that. I got it already.
You gotta go Boston.
You need to stop talking like that. See, I'm terrible at accents.
You gotta go Boston.
Boston.
Hey, man, what kind of Boston accent? What are you talking about, huh?
Yeah, you're
That's
starting to
New York.
up now.
Sorry. Okay, well, maybe this is more like Boston, huh? Hey, you pecker, what do you want? How are you? So, no, sorry, I don't do Boston. Oh, wait, no, wait, I know Boston.
I remember when normal British accents was the Boston accent. Good times, when we ruled.
Good times.
That was just filled with a bunch of mix.
Mix, indeed. No, the Boston accent, Hey, buddy, gonna go to Fenway. You coming?
You sound exactly like Politipod. Don't know who that is, according to Communist in Space Blue Planet.
You gotta love the mix.
The mix.
Oh, tell me about it, man. The Sox at Fenway, perfect.
We actually have a joke about the Irish. You know what they're, what we built the Erie Canal with?
Potatoes.
The bodies of dead Irishmen.
Back in Egypt, that's deeply offensive.
Hey man, that's my grandfather you're talking about, all right?
That's quite good. So
I'll
you'd
kick
be a
your
good
ass.
voice actor,
I'll
Ted.
kick your ass up here. Yeah. Hey, you want to come out to your car? We'll talk it out there.
I just love to take the piss out of them.
Of the Irish. I used to really love Ireland when I was like, I was kind of like what you could call, if I was a teenager today, I could be like sort of trans-Irish, if that makes sense.
Get an Irish passport. Everyone's doing it.
I support a soccer, football. I say football. I always say soccer when it comes to talking to Americans. But I support a football team called Celtic FC. I don't know if you're into soccer or football or whatever. And obviously, it was an Irish guy who fled.
I don't mind watching it sometimes.
Yeah, but Celtic, even though I support Celtic, they do have like a sort of Marxist element in the fan base, and they're very like pro-Irish. Like they very rarely fly Scotland flags, but they always fly the Republic of Ireland flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember I still know the lyrics to like IRA songs from when I was a teenager.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's something.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about offending anyone. I'm German. Who gives a fuck?
You're German. I feel
well,
so sorry
part
for
of
you.
my family's. Well, I mean, they came here before Germany got cucked, so they came here after Germany got cucked the first time.
The first
Let me
time.
be accurate.
All right.
What, 1918?
About 1924.
Yeah. They saw Hitler in his early years and like, no, we are not waiting for this. I know where he's going with this.
East or west? That's what communist is based. He was asking you which part of Germany you were from. Or your parent, or
my
your
family
lineage.
originally
My apologies.
Originally came from Munich.
Okay. That's like west.
Yeah. And fuck the communists. They fucking destroyed a shit ton of German castles, the East German government. Fuck yourself, communists in space.
Jesus Christ, that'd be heartbreaking because a lot of the German castles look like palaces from like a fantasy tale, and they destroy that just to promote their stupid agenda.
Yeah, they decided to not try to rebuild the Hohenzollern fucking palace in Berlin. Fucking pieces of shit. See the monarchy, you destroyed it. Why?
The communists, man, they hate monarchs.
We want to cock you, that's why. Yeah, communist in space. I project that in about 7 years' time, you will be pro-capitalism. I know it's coming. East Germany had a superior national anthem. I've never heard of their national anthem. Is it just a remix of the Soviet one?
Oh, hold on a second.
No, I have a better anthem for you, communists in space. Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles.
Über alles in die Welt. Yeah. Yeah, I fear one day we may go to prison with this.
I've got a question for you, communist in space. If you could choose to live in capitalist America or Nazi Germany, what would you pick? Take your time. There's no.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
No, that's easy, man. Nazis were socialist.
Yeah. Nine. That's a lie that you stupid Nazis come up with.
Oh wow. Communist in Space said I just read it. He said potato niggers disgust me. Wow, tell us how you really feel about the Irish. Jesus.
Yeah.
I
think I'm not sure, but I think Communist in Space is actually based in Scotland as well. You better watch out what you say about the Irish. You'll get done for sectarianism.
Yep.
Yeah. Sturgeon will put you in jail.
Oh, absolutely. Sturgeon. I can't stand Sturgeon. I used to be, when I was a teenager, I actually used to be a SNP supporter and pro-independence because I actually hated Britain. Because one thing, there are some, Celtic supporters. I know you'll be thinking, what's this got to do with politics? But this rivalry is like politically fueled. And just the sight of a Union Jack. Oh, yeah, Scottish, that's cool. The sight of a Union Jack used to make me feel sick and I really wanted independence. I think the first dose of red pills I had was when I was about 18. When I watched an older guy called Pat Condell. Have you seen him before?
Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff in the past.
Yeah, I think that was way back in 2009. I was 18 years old, and I sort of drifted away from having an opinion one way or another about independence. But like right now, I'm like, I want to stay in the UK and leave the EU. There's a lot of like Celtic fans that would tell me to go and support Rangers for that reason. It's just how petty the rivalry is.
See, Communists in Space, you can't. That right there is why you can't support SNP, because Sturgeon doesn't want independence for Scotland. She wants to leave the UK so they can be part of the EU.
True, but I'm not sure if Communist in Space does support Sturgeon. I've never seen him. What's your thoughts on Sturgeon, dude?
You talking to me?
No, Communist in Space. Do you want to bring him in for like the last 20 minutes or so?
Will he join us?
We could.
You could. We'll put it to a vote. I'll say yes.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I abstain.
You abstain. All right. I'm going to just do it just for the kicks. Communist in Space, look out for your Twitter DMs. You might need to follow me if you're not already. I'm not sure what your settings are.
Put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, you could just put it in the chat. That would work.
No, why not? Just let anyone come in. There was I had one with him. You've probably never heard of him, Scottish individual. He's like one of the most passionate people that I've streamed with. And I was streaming with him like about 3 weeks ago, and someone just came in, and he was an American guy, but I couldn't work him out at first. He was like just going, Mormons rape kids, Mormons rape kids.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Communist in Space? I hate the SNP and don't mind Sturgeon. Are you fucking mental?
What's wrong with you, man? I call it shortbread.
Right.
My nickname for Sturgeon is Shortbread.
Right. I'm going to end this stream at 10:30, which I'm assuming is 4:30 over in the States. So for the last 15 minutes, whoever's watching, I'm going to put the link out and you can all just jump in. So let me.
Oh, he's not coming in. No.
Is he not?
There's 5 people.
No. He said he's not coming in.
I'm not coming in.
You'll never be farther that way.
Do it. The temptation is too strong. Join the dark side of the Force.
If you don't join, I will send you to your corner, Communist in Space. Don't make me do it. I will.
Rule the galaxy together as Sith Lord and apprentice.
We will show you the glory of capitalism. Yeah, it's open. I wonder if anyone will take the bait. If it's not commie, it might be someone else.
Free market is the most powerful force for prosperity and increasing standards of living.
The wonderful business empire of Sir Rupert Murdoch.
I'm going to trigger you, Communist in Space. Capitalism is going to always be better than Marxism.
I just felt a huge divergence in the Force. As if someone just threw something at his computer screen.
Now he needs to buy a new one. Through capitalism.
Capitalism brings you iPhones. Communism brings you gulags and breadlines.
And lots of grass to eat. There is one good thing about communism. It keeps obesity down. Let's give credit where it's due.
Oh, it also gives you Trabants, which are really shitty, but you still get cars. So
you just get cars that drive you.
Maybe we should build a new Berlin Wall.
Yeah. Nah, keep all the resources and we'll build a London Wall, because the city of London is fundamentally different in its attitude from the rest of the UK.
Yeah.
London and a little bit for Brighton. They two can be like the quarantine zones of the UK. And maybe even Edinburgh as well, because there's so many hipsters in Edinburgh.
Can we build like a wall around Germany?
Yeah. Contain them in.
Well, Hungary might do that.
Good on them.
Communist.
You know, the reason the Slavic countries are more objecting to like all the migrants coming in is because they've experienced, you know, historically what the Ottomans are capable of.
Mm. Welcome, comrade.
Welcome, comrade. This is a capitalist place. Glory to the Western world.
God. I just read a quote from Hillary Clinton. She said Trump's inauguration speech was a cry from the white nationalist.
Oh, get fucked, Hillary.
See, shit like this is why I won.
Jesus Christ, that's just that doesn't surprise me.
You know that there are still people that support her, right? You know this, yes?
Oh, yeah.
We call them losers.
Oh, they live among us.
I don't know how anyone honestly could support her after the stupid things that she said, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but Donald Trump, though. As long as Donald Trump's an excuse, so then Hillary will always have some sort of supporter, one way or another.
If they put up another...
On you go.
If they put up another corporate shill in 2020, I'm voting for Trump. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. That's most likely what it's going to be, because I just do not see the Democrats learning from this.
If I were an American, and they put up Jesus against Trump, I'd vote for Trump.
Yeah, you're like the biggest like Trump fanboy I know, though. And you're not really white as well, so that kind of makes it like more confusing to the progressives. In space, I can sort of see you in the dark. Are you talking right now?
He doesn't have any light bulbs because it's after 10 p.m. And they can't afford electricity for the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah, the electricity curfews took place in his little socialist republic, so we can only see him in the dark, slightly. Oh, he's gone off camera.
To light the whole day would be wasteful.
I mean, he's here, but he's just not... I don't know if he's not talking or his volume's not working.
You know what the Democrats really need to do, but they probably won't?
Go on.
They need to get rid of superdelegates. That is such a bullshit thing to have.
They screwed Bernie so hard, man.
I do not give a fuck what party insiders think. I don't think they should have a vote as to who the candidate should be. Fuck them. Fuck their opinion. The process.
Nope.
Oh, that is. As Sargon said loads of times, it's all this money in politics that's going to keep them corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they keep, pandering to the whims of the corporate elitists, then they're always going to have a corporate candidate, and they're just not going to...
Tommy left.
That's a shame. If you're still tuned into the stream, Kwame, remember you could always practice capitalism and buy a microphone. That's just a little hint there.
Kwame, come back!
Or maybe we can get you to be the Prime Minister and you can seize all the microphones and then you'll be able to dictate who gets to use them.
Yeah.
And no one else has come in the hangout. There's only have any of you guys got the page up of this stream? Because I've got it up, but that's just to look at the chat.
I could just plaster this shit on the shit posting groups I'm in.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm in a lot of shit posty groups on Facebook.
Oh, I've just seen
At least here.
communists.
At least here I don't have to worry about the American government persecuting me for my opinions.
Yeah. Here in the DPRS or whatever you want to call it, Democratic People's Republic of Scotland, we've got to be very careful. My comrade Count Dankula is going to jail soon. It's not been decided. I just know it's going to happen because it's Scotland.
He's back.
I'm looking at your Twitter page, Communists in Space, and there's a picture of Tailed Feature with a red saltire and this hammer and sickle on his hat. That is abuse.
Oh my god. And apparently Angela Merkel is offering to help create like an Iran-style nuclear deal with North Korea.
Oh, for sake.
That doesn't surprise me.
Merkel, your reach doesn't expand beyond Europe. Like,
Oh, she would be empress of the world if she could be.
I mean, I can understand her wanting to destroy Germany, but why does she have to take the whole world with her?
Well,
she really does like wish that she had like a influence outside of Europe, but she just doesn't.
Mm-hmm. But she, in a way, she is the sort of de facto empress of Europe because the EU is very German-centric, and perhaps Belgium-centric.
No.
No, I can't hear you,
No.
communist. I don't know what's going on.
And do you know who Angela Merkel's court who she has as the court eunuch?
Eunuch.
She has a eunuch in her court, and his name is Emmanuel Macron.
Yeah, Emmanuel Macron.
Emmanuel Macron.
Yeah, that was just like, I mean, I didn't even say I'm a huge Le Pen fan, but anything over globalist candidates.
Yeah.
At least Le Pen was willing to stand up for like the labor laws. Macron wants to just like gut them all.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
He's just a more well-dressed Tony Blair.
The Tony Blair,
and
it's got more layers of beta.
I don't care what anyone says. His party is not a political party. It's AstroTurf.
Yep. You know, at least his approval ratings are plummeting. So,
does it matter? France had their chance. Now they've made their bed, so they're going to have to lie in it. I look at Europe, and it's just like the west of Europe is basically fucked. France, Belgium, Germany, obviously, Sweden, extremely so, and it looks like Spain and Italy to an extent as well. But here comes what I was going to say earlier about communists in space. He was mentioning, are Slavs truly whites? And my answer was, Slavs are the best whites.
Yep.
The best thing though is like Austria is completely fine. Like they're not having the problems that the rest of Europe is having. Or
not the extent,
Hungary,
but they've had incidents.
Well, yeah, they've had incidents, but it's not nearly as bad as fucking Germany or France or
it's not as frequent.
Italy.
Yeah.
But France is like it's got the highest Muslim population. It's got over, I think, has it reached 6 million by now? It was definitely over 5 million. And Germany, obviously, they've got a huge. No, I still can't hear you. No. Germany's got a huge Turkish minority there. I think that stems from the alliance with the dying Ottomans. But yeah, they're like they don't see themselves as Germans. They're kind of like a fifth column of they can even elect, take part in Turkish elections. It's mad. And they effectively are Turks.
Yeah, I just if I'm gonna go to Europe right now, I would probably rather go to like the UK. I would not want to go to like continental Europe.
Mm. It wouldn't be certainly not West Europe. I would go to maybe the east. I'd go to Poland because Poland would be fairly safe.
Yeah, Poland would be okay. I wouldn't mind going there.
Slovakia, Czech Republic, or Hungary. The racist countries. I wouldn't mind visiting them. I wouldn't mind visiting Russia. Honestly, I would love to visit Russia.
He left again. Just as he was talking about certain positive terms about his motherland.
Mm-hmm.
He's back.
He's back. Maybe it'll work right now. As I said, communist in space, you can always, using money, you can always purchase another microphone. Indeed.
You could just go go to the store, pay £15, and then you could have a microphone that works.
Yeah, mine's actually cost £25. It came from China.
It's pronounced China.
China. Oh yeah. I saw Trump talk about Antifa. Antifa. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah. Hold on a second. I'll get that.
If you insist.
Great. Yeah, just get that.
Yeah, I'm actually like, after university, I'm actually going to consider like going to the UK for like programming work.
Oh yeah. Well, you're not going to escape regressive idiots if you go to the UK. You'll still have the same idiots here.
Yeah, but the US has like a shit ton of problems that I cannot be bothered to listen to right now.
Mm-hmm. See, at your university, do you have all these idiots and all these diversity quotas and all that and all this nonsense?
I haven't started quite just yet, but I'm planning on starting like probably the next semester.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought you were already there somehow. See, assuming too much. Communist in Space says it was Google Plus that was doing it. I don't know. I just
I took a few years off from after high school. It was like, fuck it, why not?
Yeah. Well, it said it was
Sorry
two children's.
Sorry about that. My phone battery died.
All right. So you're on camera then?
No, it appears not.
Oh, there's two chowders in here apparently now.
Oh, maybe that's because I didn't log out of the other thing.
No, all right. That's all right. We can still hear you, and I can just about see you.
All right, hold on. Let me just turn the camera. Just turn the camera off then.
I can still see you. Oh, not anymore.
Good. Don't want to dox myself.
Yeah, well, it lives in Scotland, so if you get doxed in Scotland, it's pretty much game over.
Yep. Bloody Scots, no sense of humour.
When I first started my channel, I actually used my name.
Did you?
Oh dear.
So did I, but
I changed it. I was like,
yeah. Mine's is actually a totally new one. Like my old channel still has the same name. It's still Galahad. It still has the same picture of Marco Polo with sunglasses on. But when I decided to start a new video, I thought, nah, it's associated with my real name and my email address. So I just started a new one, new email address, new channel. But it's probably for the best that I don't grow too big. Otherwise, I will get doxed eventually because I'll piss off the wrong person.
Yeah, you'll get what millennial woes to you.
Mm-hmm. And I'll be tarred as the same brush as millennial woes. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but the way that the Daily Record, you've probably heard of them, the way they covered the story is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, and they basically, were saying, oh, we hope he gets stigmatized and he loses, his job and all this shit. It's like,
it's kind of like a modern equivalent of of witch burning. Instead of like obviously putting the blasphemer in the gallows nowadays, it's making sure the blasphemer has no job, and is publicly shamed and blacklisted from everything.
Or it's like excommunication.
Oh, your links disappeared. Communist in Space.
What the hell?
Oh wait, hang on a second. I think it opened in another thing.
What? I'm not sure.
Sorry about. What are you looking at?
Communist in Space put a link in the chat.
I'm going to put in the chat on the actual stream video page.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it's basically a self-proclaimed Maoist getting interview that was at Occupy Philly from 2011.
Oh. Isn't it just great how the Occupy movement fell apart?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it was bourgeois as fuck. Just all these like middle class idiots, revolutionaries.
I don't think it ever really gained traction like internationally, honestly.
There actually was one in Edinburgh that I saw, but it was very small. It was in I can't remember. See, I'm forgetting like landmarks in my city, but it's near George Street. You'll know what I'm talking about.
But
Um,
if they were
Chowder.
going to protest, wouldn't they go to like Canary Wharf? Like, wouldn't that make more sense?
Maybe, but you know, a lot of them wouldn't want to like travel out too far. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's in the city centre, so they're going to get a lot of attention there anyway. It was just like a few people that were camped there in the tents that they bought in Argos or whatever retail store that sells them, drinking their Starbucks coffees, telling us how capitalism is evil.
Oh, I found it here. Just hold on a second. Can you hear that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to think he knew what he was doing there.
I've been so lazy. I need to get back into video making.
Do you make videos? Still?
Yeah, I do. I actually have. I've got like 170 subs.
All right, that's not bad. I'll need to have a wee look at it.
Cool.
Yeah, I like make videos, and I can see how how time consuming it is. I've never made a video that's taken days to piece together. I've just like always done it in one go.
Oh, I've done a few projects that have taken over a day.
Yeah, is that the better stuff? Would you say the stuff that you're more proud of?
Sometimes yes, sometimes like it depends on like what I'm talking about, really.
Mm. What sort of stuff do you cover? Is it like political stuff?
Sometimes political stuff like SJW, BS, and social justice idiots.
Mm.
I mean, that must take up a lot of time.
There's so much like the thing that sometimes it's kind of a hindrance to me, but like there's so much cancer out there that I don't know what I want to make a video about,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice problem to have, I suppose.
Well, maybe. I mean, when I make a video, it's not happened often. I've not done one in a couple of weeks now. I do like to not cover a topic that's already been done to death.
Yeah.
That's like all I want to talk about. Like the last video I properly made, not that Antifa compilation that I put out. That was just a general thing, stuff that I found on Twitter and mashed together. But the last one was about a hospital that refused the fundraiser money because of sexism. So I'm gonna have a wee look into that now. It was men that dressed up as female nurses, and the money was refused that they raised, to get life-saving equipment. It was refused because apparently they were being sexist, even though they've done it for a long time. But yeah, who cares if you could save lives with that? If they hurt their fifis, then that's even worse.
Yeah, of course. I hate doing it, but I make videos. I've made a few videos on Riley Dennis.
Riley Dennis, Jesus Christ.
I'm afraid
I really don't like to do it, but it's so hard not to.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like an obligation to do it? Because I can just feel that.
Yeah, because it's like no, Riley, what you're saying is so incredibly just wrong.
Oh, it is because basically just because me as a straight guy wouldn't suck her dick, that makes me transphobic.
Yeah. Oh dear. I mean, what the hell kind of logic is that?
It's the logic of a brainwashed ideologue. If you're not attracted to a trans woman, then you're sexist. No, not sexist, transphobic. Or sexist as well. And maybe a bit racist, even if it's a white person. You're a what?
I'm a heterosexual man. I'm not interested in penis.
But you're supposed to be if it comes from a woman. Self-styled woman.
Yeah, it's just mental.
Yeah. Yeah, she is like you're probably that's the sort of like person that Undoomed went for quite a bit. Does Undoomed still make a lot of videos?
I haven't checked this channel out in a while, honestly.
He seems to have gone a little bit off the grid as of late.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because his ones were really funny. You know that the guy in the clips from a show that he puts on. Do you know what show that's called?
No, I don't.
Oh, right. I've always wanted to figure out what that is.
You know who's like really gone off the grid though?
Who?
It's like Crowd and T. He's completely gone off the grid.
Oh yeah, since he did a couple of videos last week though. Going after the alt right.
Yeah, but
So
it's
what-
like
Was that why he went off the grid? Was there something that happened?
no. I just think he's incredibly not to knock him. I do like him and his content, but I think he has the problem of laziness. I think, and yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was for a while I was a patron of his, so
Right. Did you cut that?
I basically was like, well, I kind of we weren't getting like live streams, so I was basically like, well, if I'm not going to get live streams out of it, then I might as well, because that was what he was
Yeah.
advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was saying to myself, well, if I'm not going to get any streams out of it, then what's the point? So I just stopped
Yeah.
donating.
Fair enough. Yeah. Why? I mean, I would like to see him making more content again, but I don't know. I think did he not try and dox was it some teenage lassie who's a Nazi? And then, but it kind of went against his principles in doing it. I mean, I think that the girl that he was targeting was, a stupid little bitch, but I didn't think there was any justification for what he'd done.
Was that Rage After Storm?
Yeah, and he wanted to go for her employer, which apparently she didn't have one, but he wanted to go for the employer to try and get her sacked, and that was basically a social justice tactic. And he admitted he was a bit remorseful for it.
Oh my god, I've got a really good meme. I'm just gonna
I'm
gonna send it to you on Twitter.
All right, that's fine.
Just send it there. It's fucking great.
You can send it to me too if you like.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you as well. It's brilliant.
Thanks.
You've been getting quite a few followers, Chowder.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's just a thing. Yeah.
There you go. It's in Twitter messages. Just check that shit. It's great.
I've seen that one.
Oh, that is such a good meme. I love it.
Fourth wife, I found her.
Oh god.
How dare you? How dare you mock the religion of permanent offence?
I don't know why, but I do follow Tim Blake. Oh, God.
Do you?
It's just he's
Tim Blake,
he's so
well. It's something
awful.
worth following if you like. I used to follow Owen Jones until he blocked me, and Kevin Logan until he blocked me as well.
Oh, Kevin Logan blocked you then. Potato Man didn't like what you were saying.
Me. It was because I just said nice straw man when he'd strawmanned one of Sargon's posts, and then he went question dickhead or something to that effect, and I went and a straw man cunt nugget because it was a question, and then he blocked me. But I thought it was just a bit of light-hearted insulting banter. I mean, I didn't go into it looking to upset him, but apparently I did. So
I guess Potato Man can't handle bants then? Is that what I'm getting from this?
Absolutely not. Because that's the thing. He called me ass face, and I just went, and you were strawmanning him, cunt nugget. Just trading insults, just a bit of barmy banter. But no, he couldn't take it, so I got blocked, which is a shame because I do like having a set number of people who I firmly disagree with, but a lot of them have blocked me over time.
Yeah, it's been a long time since he actually like talked to Sargon, though. Like, I think it's been over a year at this point.
Has it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he at least deserved credit for coming on and actually having an honest debate, which is not many on his side would do that.
No communist in space. Go fuck yourself. Get that cancer shit out of my Twitter feed. How dare you tag me with that?
RT, if you should support DPRK against US imperialism. Of course I do. I want us all. I want, like you, communists in space. I want us all eating the grass because there's food shortages. I want us all to wish for bread for Christmas.
I mean, what do you make of what happened to Spino? Just out of interest.
I'm trying. Sorry. I'm not trying to duck the thing. I'm trying to jog my memory because I'm a bit brain dead tonight. Spino. I used to follow him. And I used to engage with him sometimes.
I still follow him on Twitter. I think he actually. I made a video on YouTube, and he actually subscribed to me. I think he still subbed to me, actually.
All right, that's all right. Nothing wrong with a few. Well, I don't know if you might maybe agree with him. That's fair enough. I just felt that the way he was behaving was a bit stupid, and he was also a bit hypocritical at times. And
yeah,
he's crowdfunded his Harry girlfriend to come to the West, but nobody knows what happened to the money.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a dick thing to do. Because I remember I followed that Haram B or whatever her name was as well.
It's kind of sad because like he's roughly about the same age as me, slightly younger than me.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm
because I don't think he's a stupid lad. He's definitely clever enough. He's just towards the end it became more about one-upping people, especially Sargon, rather than just try to have a proper debate. And he did I remember one time when there was a bit of a heated debate, and I was actually posting the link to him to Sargon's stream, saying go and join it now because he was wanting to talk to him. And they seemed all friendly. I think that was Christmas Eve or something. They were just, they were like at loggerheads on Twitter, and then when they were on the stream, they were like, "Oh, all right, pal, how you doing? Oh, it's all right. I'm good. How are you?" And then
I remember that they were. That was the New Year's stream. You're right.
Yeah, and then just a couple of months into 2017, it all just came to a head, and then Sargon eventually blocked him for whatever reason.
Probably because he found out that he was Spino was running hard on for Assad. So
yeah, that. But no, I think they were still talking a little bit, trading blows after that. I think there was one particular tweet where Sargon just went fuck it, and then that was it. Hard on for Assad. Does he still post from that?
I don't know. I haven't checked it. I'd have to see, but I don't think he does because I think he realized that it was going nowhere and it was kind of pointless because,
Because he got a kick out of getting blocked by Sargon, but now that Sargon doesn't engage with him, it's kind of like, well, he's not getting the heat anymore. Because I think he does like getting I think he does like getting the heat that comes with going against Sargon, but he doesn't really get it as much now. So I think he goes after other people.
What does he have to get heat for? He's just, everyone knows where he stands now, and most people don't agree with him.
Well, there's some people, I don't know if you ever heard of a guy called Dick Coughlin, so-called commentator.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the sort that loves to go after people, and he thinks he's edgy just because he swears a lot, uses the C word, uses the F word, and uses it in such creative ways that he probably thinks that's edgy, even though that was edgy when I was a kid, but not so much now. It's just mess. You're swearing. What else is
apparently? David is now a progressive YouTuber. I'm looking at his Twitter.
So am I. But yeah, Dick Coughlin, he was he said that he really strawmanned Sargon's poll to the alt-right. I don't know if you saw it before his Twitter went, if you had to choose alt-righters, would you rather live with Jews or Muslims? And then Coughlin was just like, which side do you want to commit genocide against? And then he done a response to that, and it was like 2 minutes 42 seconds. And then Dick Coughlin was like, Oi, mate, 2 minutes 42 seconds. Is that all I'm worth to you? Like, he said that Sargon was triggered, yet in the tone of his voice, he was clearly triggered. So it's just like, yeah. Aye, but Sharat, he's conservatism is the new PC culture.
How's that?
He really is just incredibly partisan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like he was clever in the past. They made some like occasionally would make it the odd good like anti-feminist videos, but now he's just like it's strange. It's not often you see someone go from the red pilled side, if you want to call it that, to the blue pilled side, and yeah, it's happened. That was about the same time that Lacey Green like sort of
I remember.
converted.
Yeah, and he made that ridiculous fucking video where he was like, he got on like face paint and he was got like, oh god, that was terrible.
It was. It was just like,
and I was just sitting there thinking, Spino, what are you doing?
oh, he's retweeting Dick Coughlin. So yeah, this is like this. It is a bit sad because he was such a clever guy. I mean, he did it. He didn't necessarily have to like agree with everything that the so-called skeptic community said, but it's just the way that he's acting, the way he's behaving. He's behaving like a kid. And I know he's, by all intents and purposes, he might well be, but it's like he's getting more and more immature.
Yeah, I don't know what got into him, frankly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sent one good meme, but I've stole it and I've not given him any credit for it. It was the one about, I don't know if you've seen it, where Hitler wants to save the Germanic people and then Asian, Chinese or Japanese lassie wants to sucky, and then he's like, honorary. That was a good one. But I'm not giving him the credit for it.
Oh, God.
One tweet he said 23 hours ago, horseshoe theory isn't entirely wrong, so there's still a little glimmer of light in him then. Because he tweeted them basically, how the left sees the right, how the right sees the left, and I'm just in the middle saying you both suck. It's Rick Sanchez. Yeah.
He pretty much scrubbed his channel and rebranded.
Yeah, alternative facts. The last time I checked, he had put nothing on apart from his like one and only video.
Let me check. When was the last
He put one
video?
Reply to why I support white nationalism. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, it wasn't very long ago. It was about September 1st, so about 9 days ago.
I mean, even though I think he's turned into a little shit, it might be a great video because I don't support white nationalism. So I'll wait and see. I'll give it a watch another time, and I can be arsed.
Yeah, he's. I don't think he's in touch with them. He pissed off Cognitive Thought. I know that.
Did he?
With the whole Sargon thing, Cognitive Thought got pissed off about it.
Right. He pissed off quite a few people. He was quite friendly with Kraut T, and then Kraut T made that like really long video and like targeted like Spinal and a couple of the other ones. But he's been blocked by Tara McCarthy. That's not going to. The joy won't last long because he's going to miss being able to respond to her. I mean, I've got to admit, I miss being able to respond to Owen Jones. I did create a backup to her, but I've not had any strikes for a while yet.
He'll probably just create an alt.
Alt cuck.
That's what everyone does. Everyone creates alt accounts nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got one. I was considering whether to turn it into something like comedy orientated. I was thinking about calling it "Life Comes at You Fast" and just posting all these memes. But now I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know if I've got the time to do that.
Too much effort.
According to Breitbart, here's some good news. Hillary says she'll never run for office again.
but the source is Breitbart, so I just discount that instantly.
What?
I'm taking the piss, dude. They hired Milo Yiannopoulos, who's the biggest racist in history. So yeah, you can't trust them. Trust CNN.
Yeah, trust the Clinton News Network. Trust them.
The counterfeit news network.
It's really what really got me was like in the run up to election. You're not supposed to get this information online. Everything you learn through us. It's just like how blatant could you be admitting that yes, you want to brainwash? They might as well saying yes, we want to shape your opinions. They might as well say that. They wouldn't get any more heat than what they did actually say.
Oh god, that was so cringe.
I know. That's kind of why like a lot of people want to regulate the internet though, because it was thanks largely to the internet that Trump did get elected, and all the dirt that Hillary was trying to conceal came out for everyone to see.
Yep.
I wonder if Communist in Space is still here. Click your microphone, Communist in Space. You might be able to talk. But yeah, Communist in Space mentioned how the Libertarian Party in America praised North Korea. They actually did. I mean, what's going on with the Libertarians in America?
They ran Gary Johnson. That should tell you the first problem.
Gary Johnson, he's such an idiot. And then some other libertarian outlet was saying why Islam is like consistent with libertarian principles. I'm like, Jesus Christ, these memes write themselves.
What's Aleppo?
Aleppo is a city in Syria.
I mean, I like him as a person, but as a politician, I would not want him as my president.
Neither would I. Well, it would be good though. I mean, if any party, even if it was the Greens, I can't believe I'm saying that, but if anyone had a serious chance of breaking up the big two, just like here in the UK, I'd love something else.
Politics is in flux at the moment. You may see a new party come, but we may not. Who knows?
We need them.
You just want to
Trump at
take
the end
a wrecking ball to the Tories.
Yeah. Just steal the Tories from the posh donor.
Oh god! I just got an image of Theresa May riding a wrecking ball.
Did you?
Oh,
you have
God.
some strange fantasies, my friend.
Oh dear.
Did you picture her with her saggy breast as well, you pervert?
She doesn't have breasts, you sexist.
No, you need a bloody telescope to see her tits. But yeah, a wrecking ball, she actually did cause problems with that election in her stupid campaign. I mean, I voted for her because I didn't want bloody Comrade Corbyn to win. But that minority.
They're drying up like the Serengeti.
So I've still got Cuck and Chief Owen Jones's Twitter up in the private window, of course.
Theresa May strikes me as the kind of woman who, if you fingered her, you'd get frostbite.
Oh God, no.
No.
I came up with that one years ago.
Yeah. It's a nice image you put in. So grateful for that. I'm going to go to sleep with that later, Mama.
Good luck.
Jacob Rees-Mogg is like a guy that I'd want to have a beer with.
Rees-Mogg?
Yeah.
So would I. Well, actually, I don't drink. I'd have a cup of tea with him.
I would actually have a small sherry, chap.
Small sherry, chap.
Yes.
I'll have a cocktail with him.
Cocktail? What are you thinking?
I'll tell you what, I'm not joking on it. But if I sucked his dick and fate made him become Prime Minister for that, then I'd happily do it. I'd suck cock to save my country. And so would any other reasonable person who's concerned. But that would be good. I mean, it would trigger the right people, but unlike the current, unlike Theresa May and their Chancellor, they were not actual Brexit, supporters. They were for Remain. But Jacob Rees-Mogg did support Brexit from the start. So I would really like a Brexit government, who actually want it. and they just won't
Yeah.
fuck around. I mean, it was a week after she was re-elected, our minority government asking like the other parties for help. I mean, the other parties want to fuck it up. They want to sabotage it.
Yeah. But I think we will get the legislation through.
Eventually, I just don't want any deals that will keep us in. Really, I want full Brexit.
It really is glorious to watch the Republicans. They have a majority in both houses of Congress and the presidency, and they still can't pass anything.
Mm-hmm.
That is the funniest thing.
Well, you know, I mean, of course, the first Republican president did have that right. A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Mm-hmm. True.
The
first Republican president was a white supremacist to slavery, but he's a white supremacist because he was a Republican.
They tried so hard to repeal Obamacare, and they just failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
One vote. You know what to do with that guy.
I will forever remember the moment where John McCain gave the dramatic thumbs down to vote no.
Yeah, I wasn't following that part, but I know that they're not trying to get a rerun to get the vote again.
I don't know.
They don't have the votes for it.
Right, yeah, it does sound like a sort of new style tactic to vote again until you get the result you want. I mean, of all the things, I mean, are you pro Obama? Or do you see the nuance in it?
I would not say I'm pro Obamacare. I would say I'm pro like an actual like universal system. You know.
I support that as well. I mean, the one thing about that I do have in common with the regressives over here is the NHS actually calling it treating it as the national health service and not the international health service that they treat it as.
I wouldn't mind if we had the system similar to like France or Germany. Though their model would probably work best in the U.S. If we applied it here, it would probably work better.
Yeah, do you think the name Obamacare is the reason why as well, because it has his name attached to it? Do you think that makes them dislike it more than they would?
Yeah. Well, the Republicans kind of did that, but there are some good things in the law. But like if you really look at it, it makes our healthcare marginally better, marginally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Obamacare was designed to fail. The whole point was that it would fail, and so he was assuming that Hillary Clinton would be a successor, and they'd implement proper single payer.
Well, what they should have done was they should have had a public option, which would have offset the rising cost of insurance premiums. But they were idiots and didn't pass that as part of Obamacare. So now insurance premiums are going up, and there's nothing to counteract it.
You're starting to sound like a Bernie bro there.
Were you a Bernie bro before all the shit hit the fan?
I didn't support everything he was in favor of, but I did vote for him in the primary.
Oh dear.
I can sort of get that, because even though I don't agree with much of what he believes in, he was not bought and paid for by the establishment, and I could have sort of took that over Clinton. But it was just when when I really turned on him was when he said that white people don't know how to be poor. Perhaps I just said that in the heat of the moment, because that's absolute nonsense.
Bernie.
I like that he was offering single payer healthcare. I was attracted to that.
Mm-hmm.
I was not attracted to Hillary Clinton because she basically said we'll never get single payer healthcare, and there's no reason to fight over something that will never ever come to be. She really said that.
Mm-hmm. Good off if Bernie got through. I mean, I think it would have made America weaker, but at least it would have been better than what Hillary was offering.
Yeah.
Do you know that Sargon was a bit of a Bernie bro before it all hit the fan?
Who?
Sargon. Dugong off a cup.
Oh yeah. Oh dear. Yeah.
See, they have a bit of communism in.
Ah. Hold on a second. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Carl is a Marxist Sargonist. Or Marxist or whatever.
I would have preferred voting for Bernie for president, but what choices?
And plus, it was rigged as well because the establishment really wanted Hillary to be the president.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what annoys me even more? I mean, there seemed to be an attitude that she had to be the president just because she was a woman.
Yep.
Yeah, those would be like the blue hair feminist and like the real the Gloria Steinems of the world. That was those people.
Yeah, human cancer.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's coming up for 11 o'clock here. What time is it over in the States?
It's almost 5.
Almost 5, so it's almost dinner time. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Anything you guys want to add before we go, or are you good?
Don't know.
Tail Features. No, I'm kidding. Subscribe to his channel, because why not?
Whose channel? Blue Planet.
Well, my channel, if you can stomach it, and Tailed Feature.
Yeah, Tailed Feature. You should sub to Tailed Feature as well, Treader. You might be in one of his streams one day, but get a mic.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Sorry if I've been sounding like all quiet or not really focusing. It's that time of day. I'm tired. I was at the gym earlier. Yeah. Turned into a fitness wanker. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it at that. Thank yous to you guys for coming on. Thank you to Communists in Space for proving us that capitalism is necessary because you couldn't be heard. I will stream again at some point. I don't know when, but I will. So thank you.